Yeah, thank you so much, English Rose. You know, you're an inspiration for coming on and talking about your experiences, and I'm sorry for what you've been through. And it's actually becoming quite, not to quite the extent of what you've gone through, but it's becoming quite a common story that I'm getting, and I'm sure Ranky's hearing stuff as well. For those that don't maybe understand what English Rose is saying, because there's a lot of technical stuff in there, there is certainly evidence, overwhelming evidence, to suggest that there is a directed energy targeting system, if you like, through our mobile communication systems, utilising MK Ultra and other. I mean, a lot of people will say this is science fiction, mind control, but unfortunately, the evidence is pretty overwhelming that they're able to actually influence people's actions, thoughts, and feelings through this technology. Now, how does this tie into what Rangi and I are looking at? Well, it ties in very significantly because it links very, very closely to the children concerns that we've all got. Very, very closely. I'm finding that all the way through my evidence. So the system of fraud, okay, which is fueling all of this, which is a crime, okay, and if we look on the top right hand of Rangi's billboard there, it says, breaking the silence on the broken system. It's not only broken, it's a criminal system. I'm telling you, that's a fact. I'm 100% sure our governments have been committing crime through this criminal system to exploit and defraud us, target us and our children, and victimize us. But that system is also being used to remove the accountability and liability for these directed energy system companies. So it all ties in through the original forgery by our governments in the incorporation system, okay, which is a crime. Right back at the beginning, that's the crime. So on the right there on Rangi's billboard, when it's saying, you know, are they lying? Are they neglecting children? Are they mistreating children? They are. And a lot of the lies are because they don't want to expose the criminality within their system. Because as soon as everyone understands what they've been doing and how they've been doing it, we will then be able to fight it and we will know how to stop it, which is what I'm now trying to do. So I'm trying to show the evidence, which is very important. Okay, I don't want anybody just trusting and believing me. It's not about me whatsoever. This is about the irrefutable evidence now being provided to the world to show what our international governments have been doing to our children, and through very targeted, sinister activities towards people like English Rose, okay, and how they are victimizing us through this system. So thank you so much, English Rose, for coming on. I really, really appreciate you speaking out. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, just one more thing, because I know Benj did interject with himself, so maybe he wants to ask or say something. Benj?
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you for giving your account there, because that's obviously like the heartfelt account that I listen to. What I did want to say was, like, I'd love to interview you to do something, but like as a side issue, I think like when you start talking about the control of everything, do you think that the prime ministers or the lower subjects in the hierarchy of control actually understand what they're doing, or do you think it's just like the piecemeal stuff that, you know, when you look at the Nuremberg trials, the generals didn't actually know what was going on and all this kind of stuff? People get told what they need to know. And we, if you live in an organisational like background, you kind of appreciate that not everyone gets told everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we say that these people are the governments, like Theresa May is a classic. Theresa May was the Home Secretary, lost a 20,000 page dossier on the naughty kids or naughty people doing stuff to kids in Westminster, and then she, about 6 months later, she becomes Prime Minister. That doesn't, like, you know what I mean? There's a link there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Benj, just stay there, Benj, and let English answer you first for hers, and then we'll go into a little bit more for yourself. What you say, English?
When I met Andy Coulson, the former press secretary, Tony Blair, in the early 2003, when I was in international media, my case, I was taken across from the Old Bailey in London to the pub where all the press hang out and do the brown envelopes of cash exchange. I got wind when I got invited to News of the World headquarters, mixing with them then, about key players in so-called parliament and how it's done. And I could not speak out. And I've had to live with everything I've known since then, because if I could speak out and warn people, none of what is going on as much as it is now would have happened. But instead, they had to silence me. So what you're saying, it goes deeper, and you're correct.
Yeah, it does. Right. Now, before I go back to bench, I mean, I've seen on the comments somebody mentioned that this has been going on for decades. And then I see another message, somebody said that you can't beat them. Now, that's all maybe, wrong thinking. It's only been going on for decades because you haven't acted on it, right? And if we don't act on it, remember, it's our grandchildren and great-grandchildren and our children today that they will continue going through this abuse. Are we going to tolerate this? The answer is no. Every child is important, every home is important, and we're not going to tolerate it just because it has been happening because people didn't know. And rightly what English Rose said, that people are waking up. There is a massive awakening throughout the whole world.
How do we change it though? How are you going to stop it?
Yeah, Benj, we'll go to this in a second, but we can change this. And if it starts from number one, we need to wake up. We need to have evidence and we need to stand together, regardless of your color, creed, religion. So I want to just point that out just for them two questions itself. But English Rose, what we're going to do is anybody who wants to ask another question, I'm going to get you back in. So if the mods, if you could just, because you could keep coming back in, that's not an issue, because I know there were some other people there as well. Ben, actually, first go to Gary. Gary, did you want to add on anything before we answer the question of what Ben said, which is really important, which what he said, how are we going to put a stop to this? I know this is one of the ways, but Gary, take it away.
Well, first of all, 100% it can be stopped. I'm absolutely certain of it. We just need the masses to come together on a collective strategy. Okay, that's what we're missing, that guide that everyone can look at, agree on, and follow to play their part in how we stop this. It absolutely can be stopped, and it is absolutely essential now that there is a new system in place. What they've been doing is forgery through the entire system, literally crime. They're forging documents, not only in what Rangi talks about with forging children care cases, documents at the court process. They're actually forging the incorporation documents for businesses right at the start of the actual implementation or creation of these corporations. Okay, it's a crime. So the whole thing is criminal. So that's deception, that's lies. It won't work. Okay, so we need a system that is transparent. So how do we compel that change to a transparent system? That's the thing. How do we get them to do it? So there's several ways that we can do it, I believe. Now, I've actually, within my strategic document, I've put things such as peaceful non-compliance of the financial system. So withholding on a conditional basis all taxation, for example. I'm doing that. I've sent a conditional notice saying, providing you do this, then I will pay my taxes, because at the moment you actually...
I've seen that.
Sorry, Benji, just 2 seconds. Sorry, Benji, I'll come to you in a second. We actually now cannot legally pay our taxes, legally and morally, because what we are doing... Sorry, Benji, I will come to you in a minute. What we are then doing is aiding and abetting, which is a crime, international child trafficking, abuse, torture, and I've got overwhelming evidence that adrenochrome, harvesting of adrenochrome from children, is happening, and they're trying to hide that. So we can't legally pay our taxes. Okay, so we need to say we can't pay because it's not legal. We can't pay because it's not legal. I've been trying to expose this since 2022. I've sent multiple emails to 650 members of parliament. I've sent reports with the evidence to almost all UK police forces. I've emailed the FBI, NATO, World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum. Within 3 days of them receiving my evidence, the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, how serious this is, what I'm exposing. So, and there's loads of other things happening to show that they know it's up. It's just a case of getting it out to enough people who are going to be willing to stand up and say, right, we're going to do this until you change it. So the next thing I now propose, and it's a big one because I was hoping to avoid it, is an international strike. A sustained, if necessary, international strike to compel a change to a transparent system, which is easily done with the technology they now have available. Okay, and I can go into a lot of details as to how that, I believe, that can be done to ensure our money is not paying for the abuse of children. Sorry, Benji.
But what I was going to say is that you talk about, I don't know, there's a couple of things that you've alluded to, which I know of. Adrenochrome, like, do you believe that these people are actually doing this?
100%. You want me to tell you why?
Do you believe that the 630 odd ministers, you only hear from about 20 of them? Do you think the other 610 have anything to do with it?
All I can tell you is I first found out about adrenochrome from Andrew Bridgen a few months ago. I had a private phone conversation with him. Or I take it.
You only found about it then? So you know you never read the WikiLeaks?
I haven't read the WikiLeaks, no. Can I just finish? Sorry, can I just finish? Just for a second, bear with me, English Rose. So Andrew Bridgen says, Gary, I think adrenochrome's going on. This was an MP in Parliament. Just let that sink in, how significant that is.
But in the same, in Hansard, they said...
Benji, can I just finish, please?
Sorry.
So that, just give me 2 minutes just to explain this. So Andrew Bridgen made that initial comment. He's within Parliament. We were talking about the child trafficking. I then obtained irrefutable evidence that somebody linked to the intelligence agencies and the monarchy and international banking fraud via JP Morgan and Hollywood and Russia and Ukraine were hiding a link using a false alias name to somebody who was linked to adrenochrome, the military, the threat of directed energy systems, and also the vaccines. I've got that evidence. It's documented. Benji, sorry, carry on, Benji.
Benji, before you carry on, sorry, Benji, just before you carry on. Now, that's just one end of the spectrum, one particular topic, because we were trying to establish, the basis and why we should be withholding our money and everything else with the authorities. What about
that's
everything?
What I was come on to.
No, just sorry. Everything here that I've just said, including the grapes have been taking place, it's been covered up. Well, I've got all that evidence. How much evidence?
The thing is that I know someone who withheld their financials, their taxes, and they were put in prison. And what they decided to do, and I think he did a TikTok little thing. He said that you need to put it into a trust, so it's a third party.
Yes.
They can't put anyone in prison now.
Because you can't be seen to withhold it, and that's the point of tax. Like,
Benji,
and I don't believe in tax, but
Benji, just quickly, you're forgetting that this evidence is now available and exposed. So because it's criminal system, they can't force people to commit a crime by paying into a criminal system.
Yeah. Under the Terrorism Act, you can't fund. Basically, under the Terrorism Act, you can't fund a party, and you are funding your government to commit terrorist acts. Therefore, you do not have to pay into the tax fund. I understand and appreciate that argument, but withholding tax is a different legal argument to what you're arguing. What you need to say to the government is, here's the money, prove that you're not doing it, and at the end of the tax year, if you haven't proved it, then I'll get a rebate.
Well, there's several ways of doing it, actually. I'm going down...
As a lawyer, I'm telling you that's the legal way.
Several ways, Benji.
Yeah, well,
so what we need to do, Benji, is we need to step out of the fear. So if you're saying people are going to go to prison, they can't put everybody in prison. And in fact, I believe that hardly anyone actually... Benji?
Do you have a child?
Benji, can I finish, please?
Yeah, go on, go on.
There is actually very little evidence that people have gone to prison for not paying their council tax. Okay, they use illegal, and bear with me, Benji. They're actually using a fraudulent court process to try and take people to court. It becomes a matter that they can't, and certainly now this has been exposed, they will not be able to imprison anybody at all unless they wish to dig themselves an even bigger hole now. Sorry, Benji. I know there's other people wanting to talk as well.
Yeah, so Benji, I mean, you mentioned there at the end before, obviously, Gary continued, and I think you mentioned that, do you have a child? If I could just go on that point.
If you have a child, you have a family responsibility where sometimes that you will take, you'll take the knee because it benefits your family.
Yeah, well,
to do something. But what I did want to say...
Let me just say, on that note, it's actually not taking the knee, you're entrapped. Your children is used against you, so you have that fear factor. And it's totally, I agree with that. I agree with that.
No, but I work within the framework. You work within the framework to build an empire that can...
No, but this is what I'm saying.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, okay? Because I went through that. But this has been going on since I knew about it and had evidence of it. Everybody agrees with it. And all they just do is look the other way and still stealing our children, still letting all these atrocities taking place. So how, you see, now I understand what you're saying. I totally appreciate that. I really do. Because remember, I was told by social workers, Mr. Latif, stay silent, stop putting complaints in, or what will be, you'll get a criminal record and what will become of your kids. I knew what these dirty, diseased, filthy child abusers were saying. You know, we're not daft. But you see, now I'm out of that remit now, okay? I've got no children in the fire line, so my children now are getting older, but now they're targeted by the public just to keep me in the vulnerable situation. Now, I understand that. Whether they're a child or whether they're even after 18, you're still going to be used against you as a weapon. But for
yeah,
those
but I think when you're over 18, at least they have their life decisions. When they're 4 years old, you're trying to create an environment where they can progress and grow without seeing the hatred that is perceived on every street.
I totally agree with you. My children, the ones that are over 18 now, are targeted by people because I spoke up. So it's not going to change anything, but I understand and appreciate what you're saying. So there's a number of things you could do, even though you're in that position. You need to start sharing the information. You mentioned that you're a lawyer background. Well, let me get you some evidence so you see what your ideas are, which way you want to tackle it. But my advice is to the general public. If you're scared, have a look at the evidence to take that fear factor, because that fear factor is what you need to take away first. Okay? Because once you take that fear factor, you start thinking a little bit rationally, and then you start thinking about safeguarding children and the protection that needs to be done. And then you shouldn't care which tyrant is ahead of you. You see, how would any of us go to jail for us doing the right thing? You see, this is a main thing. Now, I agree with 100% because I went through that.
What you need to realise in England is that there's a Thatcherism of individualism, where we segregate ourselves from the reality of a community. And the fact is that it's everyone for themselves, and it's making sure that our family's all right without kind of thinking about anyone else. Now,
yes. Benji, no, I agree with that. And this is the whole purpose of these lives. This is the whole purpose of the last 4 years since I've been breaking silence. Because I realized there's a solution there. And if we have a simple focus of the well-being of our children and their future, the answer is very clear. Regardless of your color, creed, religion, culture, background, we need to come together. Once we come together, game over. So the answers are there. So this gives us now the opportunity, each individual one of us, whether we're in the comments or whether we're in the boxes, to stand together. And those who are curious about situations or circumstances or the information, ask for some clarity. We'll give you the clarity. I'll give you the clarity.
Are we talking a revolution as in the peasants' revolution or an actual revolution of Che Guevara?
Well, I don't know whether you want to call it revolution or which way you want to do it. But for me,
change,
it's
isn't it?
very simple.
A revolution means a change in the structure of your society.
Yeah,
And that's
well,
what
it
you're
has to
asking
be.
for.
It has 100%. It has to be a change.
But how are you going to do it? It can only be done by a violent revolution.
No,
Well,
it's not possible.
can't, no.
No, go and tell me a revolution that's occurred that's been successful that hasn't been.
Look, I'm going to answer one bit of what you said there about what you said about the violence. I speak to so many MPs, police officers in professional places. After seeing the information of what's been happening, they've said to me one thing: the way things are going, we're going to end up in a civil war. Now, that is a clear statement from professionals. Now, I'm not condoning to go into violence, but let me tell you something. If somebody's going to keep allowing people to rape our children, you damn right I'll fight. You damn right I don't give a damn who they are. Where does it say that our children, our community, our sister, daughters rape and do what we want? Get it. This is a message to all of them. Get a grip of yourself. You see? So if we are led to that path, is because they're failing in their job. They're failing in everything that we're trying to suggest. Stop abusing our children. Stop manufacturing documents. Stop manufacturing crimes. Stop manufacturing concerns. Deliberately stealing our children. Then you go to all these topics. Stop helping paedophile rings. Stop giving them small sentences when you got somebody making a post on something on Facebook and you give them a bigger sentence. This is not law. This is gibberish now. You see what I'm saying? But am I wrong in the way I think? They're given the opportunity, but if they're going to behave like terrorists, terrorizing our community, I'm damn right going to stand up. Because my rightful job is, my duty is, as a British man, as an English, regardless of my background or me being a Muslim, is to protect our communities. Where does it say that they control our communities? It's our responsibility. They are our puppets. They are our servants. They are we pay for.
You should obey the law of the land.
Precisely. I am obeying the law of the land.
If the law of the land allows the behaviour that you object to, where do you stand there?
Well, this is what the MPs are saying, that if that's the case, we're going to end up to civil war.
That's right.
But it's a contradiction in terms.
Can I add? The civil.
Now, 1 second. I'm just going to finish him off because I want to go one by. And by the way, earlier on, you only got dropped because there was other people waiting. We just want to get questions and answers done as quick as we can. That's all it was. So, Benjamin, I agree with everything you're saying, but you have a choice. Either we let them continue doing what they're doing, or we stand together and say no. And if they don't still listen, then we've got to react. Which parent do you know? I don't know any. Which parent do you know that's going to think, oh, okay, if they're going to continue doing it, I'm going to go along with it? Nobody is. And we don't care of what titles they are. Nobody gives a damn about. Benj, I'm going to leave it to you for a second. I'm going to go to Gary and then I'm going to go to the next. And English, I'll come back to you, Benj.
I was going to say that there's some families that I see. I don't know. It's not like shaming them or something, but they behave in certain ways. I don't know if they're like NPCs of existence, but like they don't treat their kids in a way which is a productive way that I can see that our society can develop. You know what I mean? And they buy into the society. They're fed the trough of Animal Farm, you know what I mean? Like the 1984. I don't even know if the wars are happening. I don't even know if like Ukraine's happening because I think it's oceanic wars going on at the moment. It's all just a trap of your mind of all these kind of thoughts. But then where do you stand? You can't second guess yourself. And then because you have a child that you have to protect. It's just a crazy little world that we live in at the moment.
I'm going to give an answer to that, and then I'm going to move. At the moment, everybody can stay in the boxes because there's nobody else is coming in. So when it comes to international, I mean, I want to bring it back home. We know about international. We know about the whole Western nations and the world, the problems that we face today, okay? And that's all about simple, good against evil. Angels against demons. Take it as you wish, but that's simple facts of how it is. But right now, this is happening in UK. What are we going to do in the UK? And right now, I'm raising the voice, and Gary's raising the voice, and many, many others like us are raising the voice, speaking up. And we've got facts to prove it. And yet when we prove the facts, they're going on the sick. So it's very, very difficult, but we're heading to that point. And if it means saving our future of our children tomorrow, and if we go into civil war, my job is to protect our community. And all the perpetrators, whether the paedophile rings or the police officers who have been abusing and side of the tyranny, well, so be it. It's not my decision. That's their decision. You understand? This is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy. So we're not trying to incite any violence, but they're creating the violence. Very, very simple. Gary, do you want to what? Say again, Benj?
I say there is no democracy. Ken Livingstone said, quite rightly, if democracy works, they would not allow it. Because you have there was that comedian in America, can't remember his name, but he said, like, you think you have the freedom of democracy with all the choices. You have two political parties, but then you have like 20 choices of bagels. Do you know what I mean? You have more choices of buying crap, which is rubbish for you, rather than having a decision in your own life.
Yeah. No, that's all right, yeah, Ben, but just mute yourself. I'm going to get Gary to finish off that, and then I'm going to move on to the next. Gary, is anything you want to add on to what I've said or what Ben just said there?
Yeah, just quickly, we're in a bit of a, let's think about what people are saying. It does concern me greatly when someone is saying, and you're not the only one, Benji, a lot of people are saying this, well, I can't stop paying my taxes because I risk going to prison. The only way is a revolution, which would involve death and violence. So you're going from, that is a very, I would say, a dangerous view to have in a way, because what we're saying is, and let's think about it, if we really believe children are being abused and tortured, are we really going to say, well, I can't take the risk of maybe going to court over not paying my council tax? It should be a very simple answer, I believe, of, well, of course I can't contribute any more to children being abused and tortured and murdered, no matter what. I'll risk going to prison. They won't put everyone in prison. We need to step out of that fear, okay, and realise
tax was a clear example of where it occurs.
And realise how significant this is. Now, whether you believe we're being watched by a creator or not, I'm sure we all have a moral integrity or moral conscience where if we're asked the question, do we carry on paying for the abuse of children and murder and torture of children, or do we take a chance and try and compel a change in the system by just stopping paying something? Come on, guys. It's a very simple answer. Sorry.
Take my house off me, and then I don't have a roof over for my daughter. Do you know what I mean? So there are implications that if I have to fight a battle, it's a long-winded battle, and it could be costly. And you're telling me that I'm not getting a job, getting a pay to fund that battle. So it's all grandiose, and it's all the bourgeois statements of freedom. And I agree with you. Every sentiment that you've said, I agree with you. But the reality of existence, when you come down to 90% of the population, they don't see it like that. They don't see it like that.
But what you've done,
because they're not on my wage. I know they're on lower my wage because I'm up at the upper echelon wages, and I still think I'm on the edges.
Yeah, one second. Ben, 1 second. Gary, if you could just take off, just finish that little bit off and just get to Tom. I'm going to change it again because obviously my lips aren't moving again.
But what you've done, Benji, by making those statements, well, I can't risk not paying taxes. The only way is a violent revolution. So you're only allowing either things to carry on or a violent revolution in that mindset.
Was the poll tax revolt violent?
Yes.
I covered the poll tax as a journalist, okay, in the late 1998, the protests in London up to 2003. I was both sides of London covering it for a well-known corporation. And I got wind we had the same problems even back then. So these issues are not new. But it also, if you use the violence, the occult are so well entwined together in every fabric of society, you won't even get that off the ground if you use any implied that requirement you're suggesting. Because of the mind control, technology has been around since 1940s. They will infiltrate your brain, the neocortex, and prevent people doing that. They're very high tech now with the technology, and I appreciate what you're saying for your family and being the system and having to protect the roof of your head. I am a mother, I'm a grandmother, and my son also got targeted, and he's lost his child, his daughter and his son. And it is, I can feel for everybody in various different situations. What I began having to empower myself, despite what's happened to me since 2012, and the late John Harris, whereas everybody might know by now how the system works, I began putting it into practice. And now I've succeeded into trust and equity law, and I do things in that way. I started personally putting it into practice, trying different methods, and now I know the different definitions of words and meanings. It's a bit of everything, really. But when we have to practice that it exists every day in their corrupt system and not fund what they're doing, it's very difficult when your mindset, you know what we're going through, right? And you also have to deal with these parasites, which they are, and also be aware that they don't always know what they're doing. The bigger players do. They are blackmailed, and how it's done is so sinister, and especially in my area. And I'm living by a key next door, literally next door by key players controlling the whole area. I know a key player, paedophilia ring, leader of the council in my area. I can't do nothing with something being set up every day to me. But I have to use what I know were the real original definition of words and how to do the documents. And that's the key. And when you know who you are, like you said a while ago, in trust law, you're 100% right on that, because that's what I've been, I'm more of a postmaster now, and we're advanced training on that. But it is also very difficult when you're targeted and you're getting the technology on top. It is extremely difficult for everybody who are going through this. And all I can say, in my opinion, only is do what's right for your own situation at the moment, because it is going to get to that stage. The intel I get with very good sources, I'm well connected to international people still. We will be getting into civil unrest. We will come into a lockdown. It will happen very quickly. The economic crash will happen quick. And my connections in peppering, storing up your food, your water, things like that right now is the most paramount thing you need to focus on, because things are going to happen very quickly. But that's
How do you get the freedom to speak that, though? That, like, if like this is a big agenda, I don't agree. I agree with what you're saying, that's going to happen. But I just don't understand how you have that freedom and that knowledge. Obviously,
I don't have freedom at all, darling. I don't have no freedom, and the knowledge I've got is
you're
because I'm
speaking to us now and releasing that knowledge.
They're
Why are you
monitoring
allowed
all
to tell us?
communication. When you're targeted, darling, and the website, which I always share out for anyone to go and look at themselves, see how long it's been going on. When I found that website years ago, I was shocked as hell. And
what are you providing to them? Why are you more
because
worthy,
they go after your
alive?
medical
That sounds
DNA.
really
Darling, listen, please, it's important to know. They have to go after your, it's a genetics. The biomedical data is what they go after. The corporations are worldwide. It's not just one thing. They have to go
can take
after
your DNA in a blood sample.
No, it's not just that. It's the biomedical genetic data from 1940s, and I'm in part of that family. And it is a bloodline family thing, and it is very sinister. And once you understand that, and once you research that yourself, it's up to you. Have your viewpoint by all means.
No,
I'm
no,
a
no, I agree with you.
outsider.
Right,
I
just
agree.
hold on both of you for a second. Just hold on for a second because we are slightly going off, but we want to stick to because we actually got into what can we do. Now, look, Benj, this is for you and anybody else. It's up to you what you do. You can stay silent, or minimum, you can get some evidence and raise your concern. But if you do nothing, then anybody who does nothing after seeing the evidence, you're actually part of the problem. Now, this is not about you now. This is in general across the board. Because at the end of the day, we're talking about humanity race here. We're talking about children here who are going through all these ordeals and we're too scared. What we're scared of. So we're not asking anybody to do anything. Nobody wants to condone violence, including me. Okay? But that doesn't mean I'm going to stay silent because somebody's above me with a machine gun. Hey, stay silent. This to them. This is not a compromise. I'm not compromising with nobody. This is about doing something. So we could do minimum. What we could do is get some information and say, hey, figure it out.
Yeah, but you've got the French Revolution. You've got this the civil war in America. And then you had the Peasants' Revolution in the UK. Tell me which was victorious and which wasn't.
Well, for me, this is the thing.
Peasants' Revolution because they got their arse kicked, even though they marched from Newcastle down to London.
Benji, stop for a second. Just hear me out. I'm not going to go round and round in this, okay? It's simple.
Our culture doesn't like that.
Either we allow them to keep doing all this, then don't complain about it.
No, yeah, we're submissive as a society.
Say again?
That's why we like the underdogs. We don't have the physical.
So the minimum. So this is what I'm saying. The minimum.
2 million people marched against the Iraq War. We still bombed. Do you know what I mean? That's how. And we went.
Hang on, Benjamin. Here's the thing. We marched. Look with what you said. 2 million people marched and they still bombed Iraq. Right now, we have 2 million people in UK and they're still going to bombard and rob and rape our children here. And if they continue, then there's a big issue, isn't it?
I just don't think
we weren't able to do. Foreign, we weren't able to do
Benji,
much.
You're not responding, so
I respond because if I see any kind of fascist or any kind of statement that I remember even as a 18-year-old kid, I was in a restaurant and a parent said to their daughter, "Stop eating like a pig," and me being some kind of socialist person, I said, "Don't call your daughter a pig." I made a show of the lad. You know what I mean? Because how dare you call your daughter a pig in a restaurant?
Right, well, look, I'm going to...
The sentiment is that I will stand up for injustices in societies where I can stand up for them. But if you're telling...
And I'm giving you the answer, Benj. The minimum you should do is have the information, minimum share it, minimum raise your concerns with who you think you trust. If it's your mayor, your councillor, your MP, or to the judge, say, hey, this is a concern, this is a concern.
Mate, I watched Zeitgeist when I was about 12, and I was...
I want to move on
that's
because
capital.
these people
But
have been
the thing
waiting
is,
there
I
for a
don't
while.
believe in the economic structure that you live in. How can you change it into a...
Benj, I've had to mute you there because these have been waiting there for over an hour now. The answers is very, very clear. Everybody could do their little part. That's all we're asking. It's together we could achieve more. Gary, did you want to comment on anything there before I go on to Tom?
no, only just to say again, don't forget we're in unprecedented times. We've got evidence now that we didn't have before. That changes everything. So people like Benji need to realise this is completely game-changing evidence now circulating the world, okay? We know that. You've got the King resigning. You've got Prince Charles resigning. They're dissolving huge companies over this. You can see it all happening. Benji needs to step out of his fear zone. Hopefully he's not here to make everybody else fear so nothing happens. We need to start standing up for our children. There's only one moral right answer, and we have to do everything possible to save these children.
You know, I'm just going to add on one thing before I go to Tom. In 2020, when I went public, before that, I'd already been telling people who I knew within the community and the surrounding areas, which was in the areas of Stockton, Thornaby, Middlesbrough, Hartlepool, Newcastle, Durham. There was a lot of people I was telling. And the people, no disrespect to anybody, people weren't moving forward. Them same people now have been affected by the same issue and problem, and now they're saying, I want to speak up. What I'm trying to say is, don't wait till they steal your children or something happen to your children, for the love of God. And if you can't speak up for your child, at least let me know. I'll speak and fight for your child. How fair can I get? You understand? This is not, if you can help, great. If you can't, don't worry. It's something that everybody can actually move forward to help this cause. Simple as that. Tom, can you just unmute yourself, please? Tom, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Hi, young man. Did you have a question or a comment for me or Gary or anybody else?
Yeah, bit of good news, really. In New Zealand, they've had some really exciting news where they've managed to get rid of all the tax, mortgages, of course, the fraud. They've all been squashed. Loans, debts. There's quite a lot, really. I've not really looked into the full scale of it, but it's exciting. And traffic offences, speeding. There'll be no speed limits. The only time that speeding will come into it is if you injure a third party. There'll be no road tax. Yeah, so it's looking good. Looking good.
Well, that's good news then. That's good news. Now, always, I've just got you in for one reason, because I want you to support Gary on here. I want this still going on. I need to go make a coffee and just get a bit of breather, shall I say. So anything, again, I'm going to make it clear. Please try to be respectful with each other. No slagging anybody down. At the end of the day, we're trying to find solutions, and we're trying to find people who either are awake or want to be awake. But sitting down and shutting a blind eye and pretending to be asleep, that's not going to help you at all. It's about time people woke up. This is what it's all about. Together we unite, we win. Or it's a case that we'll never move forward. Like Tom just said, what's happening in other countries. Here, you know, what fascinates me, I want to bring a point to it. This country here, United Kingdom, we used to hear about one child being mistreated internationally somewhere, we would stand up and would make a change. Yet our whole nation is being abused. Hundreds and thousands of children displaced, robbed, raped, stolen, passed on, trafficked. And we just lost the backbone. Well, wake up. We still the same people. It's about time we stood up and done what's right. And it doesn't matter what colour, creed, religion, take all that to aside. That doesn't matter no more. This is about divide and conquer. So, Gary, I'm going to leave you now. You've got all the support you need. As people come in, you can just switch them around. The only one that I haven't got to is Starseed. So I'm going to let you continue there, Gary. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem at all, Rangi. Thank you very much. Just on, Tom, what you just said, yeah, thank you for that. I've actually been sent that. I think what we've got to be very careful of is why are they suddenly appearing to bring in what looks like on the surface a fantastic system. But is there something behind this? Are they still going for full digital currency control in Australia, Tom? Do you know that?
No, and this is what we've got to find out. But yeah, like you're saying, it could be just a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah. This is what we need to be careful of.
It's looking good, but not 100% yet.
Yeah, we've just got to be very careful because they will know, and I'm in touch with people in Australia and including some of the parties over there, what they will be looking to do is damage control for them and trying to give the public something that looks very, very good to appease them, but actually maintain an element of control and still somehow have the ability to exploit the public through the system they're bringing in. So we need to be very, very careful. But that shows how much they're panicking over this because we're starting to get things like that coming through. So I think it is a very, very positive sign, definitely. Tom, did you have anything else before we go to Starseed?
No, I think that's it. I think there have been some late reports as well that FEMA have been killing a lot of people as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've actually had a conversation with somebody today about that as well.
FEMA.
On your point as well with what you mentioned about Australia, the other thing they're going to be very reluctant to do is expose the trillions that they've defrauded from the public through this system of fraud. Okay, so by presenting that enticing opportunity of a system, that will enable them to get away with the trillion, and it will be trillions, that they've stolen from the public taxpayers through this system of fraud that I'm exposing, as well as getting away with murdering, because they would have murdered millions through the conflicts, but also there will be a lot of high profile deaths in relation to this as well. So they're going to be trying to get away with that and entice us into a new system to ensure that they keep all of that money as well. So that's something else we need to be very careful about how we move forward in that. Starseed, if you want to unmute yourself, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, Starseed. Starseed, did you have a question or a comment? You're still muted, it looks like. Starseed, can you unmute yourself? Okay. English Rose, if you have a comment, unmute yourself.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask, because obviously I don't know anyone knows about the military black operations, a reference where the children are taken, and how the military element is included worldwide. And if anyone didn't know about the underground military bases worldwide, and it sounds far-fetched, but I found a website called supersoldierstalk.com as well, and some of these are ex-military and whistleblowers coming out and explaining why and that is happening. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've heard, and in fact, I've got some information in relation to the tunnel systems. I actually spoke to Jeanette Archer, who is claiming to be a victim of satanic ritual abuse, which ties into everything we're talking about. And she made claims that under Area 51 in America,
Yes.
which we're all, there's a lot of tunnels under there with, awful things going under there, according to Jeanette Archer. So I then researched on Companies House, Area 51 within company names. And lo and behold, it linked back in to the same fraudulent entity companies that I'd already linked to child trafficking.
There you go. I uncovered years ago the 6 things. I didn't know what they were called at the time, because when I was modelling, I got invited to the parties, like the movie Eyes Wide Shut. And they're more sinister, and you go through doors and doors and doors of these big mansions in England. I got invited to just because I was associated with these people through the contracts and modelling work. And I witnessed firsthand very sad things of trigger warning. Won't mention specifics, obviously. Unless you do things to children, you will have things done to you, shall we say it that way. And unless you're prepared to do certain horrible unaliving on certain platforms and certain procedures in these parties, you won't live, or you're going to be a target rest of your life. And because I wouldn't participate in that, I've been on the radar ever since. And that's why it's been extremely hard to keep going, because I know and I witness what they do. And it's very, very much very organised worldwide, and especially what I saw. And one of the key players has said all these years on, I'm living right next door to. And one of the major key players in my area politically, I know firsthand what he did to the children, because my son at the time was only 7, and when I was in the modern industry, and his best mate was trafficked And I tried to go to the police and local people, I thought, at the time, didn't know what I knew then, and they did nothing. And that guy's now an adult, obviously, and I witnessed certain people taken abroad and not coming back, shall we put it that way. So, yeah, it is quite dark, people, but don't let it eat you up. It's easy to do. That's right.
It is, and I think, you know, as horrible as all of this sounds, it's very enlightening that the truth is all coming out. We need to be positive about that, because we have to know the truth, don't we, as a foundation as to how to resolve it and how to move forward. It's very, very important. There was Jacqueline and Grania earlier on in the boxes. I don't know if you want to come back in, Jacqueline. Press your button if you do. Grania, if you want to come in. And I'll just do a summary for new people that have come on as to the evidence that I've acquired. So since 2022, I have acquired evidence, and it's irrefutable evidence. It's very simple. And I do urge anybody to go and look at a particular company that I'll talk about in a minute to look at this. But what our international governments have been doing have been forging the company registration systems and incorporation documents attached to it. Okay, so falsifying that information, a crime, to create illegal entity companies, fraudulent companies. And we're talking most of the large conglomerate organizations that you're aware of are part of this. So McDonald's, Amazon, all banks, okay, every bank that I've looked at has a fraudulent shell company or main company that doesn't even match the register. They should never have been trading. The SWIFT international transaction system that banks use to send their money into offshore accounts, that's also fraudulent, an illegal entity. Tesco's, Asda, Morrison's, pretty much all of the large companies that you're aware of are involved in this system of fraud. And what it does is it allows them to launder money to either avoid tax, but also launder any illegal money obtained through other sinister activities through company accounts into one of the illegal entities' company accounts. And then the banks, I've got evidence of this, the banks are being allowed to produce forged bank documents for those illegal entities to falsify their company's figures and send it through into offshore accounts. All of the scandals that we're seeing relate to this. So the, for example, the David Cameron Green Seal scandal, I've done the evidence. Green Seal links back to the illegal entity fraudulent companies. It links to the Horizon Fujitsu post office scandal, the largest miscarriage of justice in the UK's history, which they appear to be trying to cover up and say it's an IT issue. They're actually all linked to this illegal entity company. In fact, there's a company called Horizon Scandal Fund that links to the company that I was part of within, I think it's 4 companies, even though there's over 5 million companies. Okay, and the company that I was part of, Exborn Manor Freehold Limited, you can go and look at it on Companies House, you'll see my name on there. I was a director for that company, presuming it was lawful and legal. I found out that there's some money appearing to have been omitted from our company accounts, which led to then a huge protracted inquiry investigation that I've been part of outside of the police. And I acquired forged bank documents through my company that appeared to have been produced by Lloyds Bank. My previous police force confirmed there was fraud in my reports at one point, but then refused to then mention that comment again, and it was in writing, so everything I've got is documented. They then produced 2 emails confirming that they were allowing, now it was inadvertently confirming, because I'd been in the police, I knew it was, that they were allowing these forged bank documents to be produced by the banks and used in circulation. That was the force I was working for, so I knew they must be involved. This was escalated to the Serious Fraud Office and the Independent Office for Police Conduct. They refused to intervene, despite Dorset Police having leaked information to somebody who I'd already named as a prime suspect from within my company, because their friend who was the accountant had been using the forged bank documents to file the accounts. Those 2 named prime suspects link back to the intelligence agencies, JP Morgan International Banking Fraud, Hollywood. They link to Russia, the intelligence agencies, through to the monarchy. It's vast. So if anyone wants to see a simple example of what I'm talking about. And this is how obvious it now is for people, okay? You can go on to Google and type Companies House search on Google, and you can do it now whilst I'm speaking to you. Go on and put in the box at the bottom there, put Vistra Limited, Vistra Limited. I think it's the fifth company down, I think. Click on that company. You'll see the first page is called the overview page for that company, okay? It was incorporated in 1965. And on that first page, you will see, first of all, you've got Vistra Limited at the top. If you scroll down to the bottom, you will see Jordan's Limited and Jordan's House have registered those names. The oldest one, 1965, Jordan's and Sons Limited. You need to remember that. It's at the bottom. Then if you go on to the filing history tab at the top on the overview, click on filing history and look at the incorporation document, you will actually see that has Hamiplag Limited on the document. That's never been registered on that record. And that is a very important document because that is a legal document, okay? So it has legal consequences if any of it is unlawful, okay? Any part of it, then the whole thing becomes unlawful and illegal, okay? And it's a signed document. So Companies House would have had that document to look at it. All they simply have to do is transfer the information from that document when someone starts a company and register it on that overview page, that first page that I told you, but they forged the register and put Jordan's and Sons instead of Hammerplag Limited. That means it's never been lawfully registered, but they've allowed to continue to trade. It's an illegal, fraudulent entity. And that puts anyone at risk who uses that company because they can't be held accountable or liable because of the forgery in the first place by our government who control the register. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's Vistra Limited. Go and have a look at it. You will see it in black and white for yourself. Check the overview page. That when your first page and you come up, you'll see it says Jordan's and Sons Limited, incorporated in 1965. Go to the incorporation document page. The incorporation document found in the filing history. It's normally the oldest document. Click on that PDF. You'll see it's Hammerplag Limited. It's a forgery, but they've still transferred the correct date, but a different company name. It's a crime forgery, and they know they're in serious trouble. Nice to have you back, Rangi.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I'm hoping people paid attention to that. So I know there's new people coming on all the time. So I'll give you a bit of a background, simple of what I am or who I am. I'm just a normal father who broke in silence against the authorities, who is now speaking about social services and the corruption within the authorities, where the police, MPs, councillors, CAFCAS and many, many others look the other way while they mistreat and abuse our children. Now, this is all evidenced in black and white, in audio footages directly, which is actually on LCS News. So if people need to know how bad it is, we've got evidence where crimes take place on our children, where not in front of you as a parent, but in another location, in front of the social workers who identify these crimes, talking about these crimes while they're taking place, not to stop it, but then they go and frame the parent that's not there. Okay, this is evidence all the way to the onwardsman. But what happens? It becomes a blaming game. It's not us, it's the police. So the police are also now blamed for all these crimes on here. Okay, but who blames them? The social services do. They blame the judges as well also. So everything is evidence of what we're talking about. If you want to go on here, for example, because this is a good thing why I'm saying we got Gary on as well, we could direct you to where the information is. If you go on here, go to a video called Banned on YouTube in UK. Then you realize why it's banned. Because in black and white, they are liars, criminals, and storytellers. And some people say, well, why would they want to be doing these lies, criminals? Well, this is all to do with money. Now, if you go on my TikTok, it's already released on there. it's got to do with money. It's all about targets and money. So, for example, targets, they've got to maintain. And when you do maintain these targets, you get a bonus. So let's talk about just one particular bonus, which is known as the adoption bonus. So for one child from one household, they get over £30,000, which is then shared between the social worker and the local authorities. 2 children, the price goes up to 4 children, it's over £90,000, and 5 children is what's known as negotiable. So remember, they take your children by fraudulently making claims against you as a parent, which is manufacturing the concerns, manufacturing crimes, manufacturing documents, and even changing your medical records. This is all malfeasance in public offices. This is a common practice for this corporate company who control our judges and police, control our police not to turn up at these events while they have their dirty fingers and paws on our kids. Okay, and then in the courts, who runs the show in the courts? It's the local authorities. Now look, it's shameful that today you're going to be able to actually join court arenas now. I'm actually going to be going through a court arena very shortly where I've been exposing this, where they were trying to gag me. When you have evidence, not like family courts, remember, in family courts, they talk about fact findings. Rest assured, it's not fact finding, it's actually known as crap findings. Well, I'm talking about fact findings. When you have fact findings, everybody wants to run away. Nobody wants to deal with it. Providing false information to the courts and other professionals used to be a criminal act. It seems to be all right for these. It's an absolutely shameful event, but we are going through this event right now. So those who want information in relation to these things that we're talking about, don't hold yourself back. The information is there, the evidence is there, and we're more than happy to present it. I've been saying this for the last 4 years, and yet every single person that I've met over the last 4 years since I've gone public, including professionals, have actually now come forward about these issues and problems and topics that we're talking about, and now also raising the awareness themselves, including like police officers who are currently right now in work as a police officer who know about this. They just don't know what's going to happen next because it's a constant cover-up, because they don't want nobody to know about it. But I'm not going to personally leave this, and I'm sure Gary feels the same way, because who pays the price for everything here? This genocide that's taken place in broad daylight in the United Kingdom and many, many other countries throughout the Western world is the social services corruption. So, you know, we could eventually then talk about child trafficking, because first you need to learn how the children are taken and then they're passed about. Because through my experience, through a lot of people that I've seen in the cases, you take your children and the child wants to come back home. They will report illegally. You'll probably be thinking, what's going on? Because your child wants to come home, but the authorities, the social workers, they say the children don't want to see their mother and father no more. And then they'll make claims that the parents have been abusing the children. But the abuse that's been taking place on the children, on the bruises and the issues, whilst in their care, are then blamed on the parents back at home. This is them abusing the position, allowing this abuse to take place in their care, but they frame the parents just to keep him quiet. And we're not going to stay quiet. So those who can speak up, please come forward. Those who are nervous, at least share the concerns, share the information to move forward. Stress, Starseed, you were just saying some of that?
Stress, thank you. Well, yeah, a bit to add to that, actually, because satanic panic is a moral personality disorder and an anti-government conspiracy theory, but it's an actual fact when you think about it. Initial interest arose with this publicly campaign for Pastor's 1980 book, Michelle Remembers, and it was, we all remember, sustained and popularised throughout the decade by coverage of the McMartin preschool trial, testimonials, symptoms lists, rumours and techniques to investigate or uncover memories of SRA were disseminated through professional, popular and religious conferences, as well as through talk shows, sustaining and further spreading the moral panic throughout the United States and beyond. In some cases, allegations resulted in criminal trials with varying results after 7 years in court. At my trial result, there's been no. Michelle remembers a book co-written by Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Pasteur and his patient and future wife Michelle Smith, which used the controversial and now discredited practice of recovered memory therapy, which makes claims about satanic ritual abuse involving Smith, the allegations which arose afterwards throughout much of the United States involved. And this is obviously what we're experiencing. However, they think it's, when they say the mind control issue that we have with being controlled, and so there's also a heart issue as well with that. Yeah. And I know I'm speaking, I know who's speaking now.
You're frozen again.
Yeah, I've just come back. Don't worry.
Okay, go on, carry on, Southseed.
Yeah. So there's a heart-centered part to this, and this is what they're going for with people, obviously. Myself being a target without getting into too much detail at the moment. But so it's very important, this, because this is your connection to source, your hands, you have
That's why you can't love. When you have that, you can't have love,
Sorry?
How are you? You doing okay?
When it happens, you can't have love. You can't emotionally connect to
Someone's
people.
talking in the background, I can't hear.
Yeah, I've just muted him. All trainer, just leave yourself on mute. I'll come back to you. Sorry, say again, Stacey.
Sorry, brother. Like, my battery's on low. Like, I just got like a request from a guy. He's got your picture and he's got the PD thingy on your profile. So some troll has set up an account.
Ali, brother, ignore them. We know who they are.
No. The thing is, they're from 777 Brigade. Yeah, these are the ones that are sort of like trying to control the social media. Like,
Careful, that's MI6. Please be careful right now.
So, Rangi, look,
That is MI6, Randy. And Gary, MI6.
Guys, I've only got a couple of minutes. My battery's going to die. But some guys going around and putting on your Rangi on your forehead like disgraceful rubbish. Yeah, right. We know they are from 77 Brigade. They're from the government, from Jimmy Savile, from like all this brigade. Yeah, from
just ignore it.
Sorry?
Yeah, all traders, I understand, but just ignore it. This is normal. I think I mentioned this at the beginning. People will do this. I'm actually hoping that they all wake up and do the job right, because we have issues like this going on that we need everybody to come together, and even any form of brigade. I've got nothing against anybody, but I do have issues with people who are doing these kind of crimes. So, I
say like I'm like not with any brigade, but like a truther, right? And you are, I think, a truther as well. But the sheeple don't know what's going on. If they don't hit them, they don't know what's going on, right? But so somebody now to randomly message me from a TikTok account with your picture, and on top of it is saying XYZ.
Just ignore it.
Yeah, Ali,
he's been deported.
Yeah, look, the best thing is private message me, we could chat. It just, I don't want to waste the time on the lives, because we want to move forward to get this done. At the end of the day, this is just the way they are.
No, Randy, I only asked for a couple of minutes, but what I said, like, I sent him to Blockistan, right? Back to his own country, to Blockistan. Yeah. End of the day, kids are kids. It don't matter the white, black, whatever color, wherever they're from. Yeah. They are. You know what I mean? They're like. We do not see any difference. Kids do not see any difference. But anyway, Rangi, I just wanted to, inform you of this, or the guy now, The message
Yeah, we
is,
know about this. We just don't waste our time on this with them. We don't give them any airtime. If anything, share the word to everybody to what we're talking about and why we're talking about. We want everybody, regardless of their color, creed, religion, background. We're not bothered. They need to come together because this is about our children now. Okay, and that's all that I care about. If they want to help and support, if the police want to help and support, all these top titles, if they want to help and support, I'd be really grateful. If not, you know what I mean, they could question themselves where they fit in. But nobody's going to stay silent. It's going to come out. If anything happens to me, you'll know what they're all about. It'll all be exposed. So I wouldn't. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. Look, I'm only going to live one life. At the end of the day, I'm not going to stay silent because these issues have happened that people who I know and I was caught up in, I want to be dealing with it. I'm not going to stay silent with it, no matter what anybody says. But in general, we don't talk about, I don't give them any airtime on my life because they can just do what they want.
touche, I agree with you. But the thing is, a weak person will just shrivel up and die. Yeah?
Yeah.
A strong person will come out, chest out, pigeon chest or whatever, you know what I mean? You will fight the battle, but not everybody knows this, yeah?
Yeah.
The thing is, one person in the secret court, he's getting shafted, and if there's 10 people with him, they think twice, their shit comes out. I'm telling you, the backhand, shit don't come out, their backhand comes out, Even in magistrate's court, when I had a few shenanigans, I just go to listen to, and I just don't jump off the bench, and everybody fucking the back end comes out. I'm telling you, because there's just people like you and me. But at the end of the day, if you give them jurisdiction, if you submit yourself under them, at the end of the day, it's a maxim in law. We are all equal before the law. It don't matter what hat they want to wear this day or that day, but we are all equal before the law. So people need to get into their own power, unless you are a slave, a serf. And it's all consensual. Nobody forces you to become a serf or a slave. What do you think the dude who's saying to you, "What is drop the cigarette butt? You're a hello, sir." He don't mean sir. He's making the F silent. Hello, serf. He's saying, "Serf, give me your identity." Yeah. So it's all word magic which they are using as well. Yeah. End of the day, look, we are all born free, and we need to learn how to live free. Yeah.
No, 100%. Ali, look, one thing, I appreciate you coming on anyway. I hope is get your phone charged and get back on. But one thing is for sure.
Thank you very much. Bro, enough love, bro. You travel up and down the country. My hat off to you. Yeah, I will shave my head for you. You know what I mean? Bro, you do next level work. Yeah, and people need to understand and appreciate this. Yeah, it's not singly you just done your stuff. Bro, you are trying to help people and wake them up as well, because a lot of people don't know the scam of the system, and the system is proper satanic. Yeah,
it is. But one thing I will tell you, firstly, I might not need to shave my head. It's all falling to bits because obviously I'm going through this carry on. But look, let me tell you something. Everything I'm doing is showing the whole nation, regardless of your color, creed, background, you could do exactly what I'm doing because I know what I know now. I've got evidence to what I know now. This is why I'm trying to duplicate. This is why I keep saying, for any further clarity, please get in touch. Because if I could give you the evidence, then you could go beat him with a stick with as well. Okay? It's a power of numbers. This is what we're talking about earlier on, about how do you solve these things. Unite and bring people together. I'm not bothered about nothing else. Are we going to allow people to do all this and nobody does nothing about it? If there's a problem in the system that we're talking about, which is the authorities, well, then we need to clean up the trash, don't we? They don't tell us what to do. We need to tell them what to do. They don't even know how to actually, what's known as investigation anymore. The word seems really, really good. Investigation, but they don't know how to do an investigation. They're talking about safeguarding and child protection. Yeah, they say it, but they do the complete opposite. This is hypocrisy. Wake up, public. And game is over. The public are awake. If anything
Well,
happens to me, everybody
sorry,
still
look,
knows it's done.
I'm going to go back to the last comment here. Look, Rangi, they're doing safeguarding. They're only safeguarding their peed up house,
Yeah.
right? And they are in Westminster, in Hollywood, Bollywood, shenanigans, whatever, everywhere. In every sector, they're there and they're all linked. And they have a lodge and they go to a meeting, right? And they do, okay, like, for example, my mate now, like, he owned a restaurant and he said, fuck off, yeah? So he's got 7 different departments come and investigate his restaurant. 7 within a week, within 7 days, different. So they're fascist, they use different manipulation tactics, use all the sticks of investigation tactics, they're all there bandied together, you know, to beat you over the head with. And you're paying for it as well. You're paying for your own fucking enslavement. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is
Absolutely. Brother,
by consent.
absolutely. Now, brother, you know all this. What I want you to do is, whichever location you are, tell our own community, because this is about everybody coming together. And I'm more than happy to come down there and do a lecture, do a talk with fact findings, and I'll even present the evidence to you. And then you'll realize what's happening. They don't care. This is about a distraction. If you look around in the media today, everything is to do with the minorities, yet the masses of themselves are robbing, raping the rest of the nation. They're not bothered what color we are, what creed we are, what religion we are. They don't care about the Christians, they don't care about Muslims, the Sikhs, or they don't even care about the atheists. Any Joe Block in the public, they do not care about you. We're just a number, a title, we're a guinea pig. They just want to exploit us. Simple as that. Okay?
Well,
and it's our job now, all of us come together. But each community, everybody needs to come together, put everything aside. And this is why I'm doing this. And it's only going to get worse. And look, I've already gone through it so far, and I've got evidence of this. I've actually got people who are actually in live today who've seen the evidence where I've been run over and no police wants to get involved. My window's getting put through, no police wants to get involved. I've been arson attacked, nobody wants to know about it. People are telling me from the community to get victims of child sexual abuse to stay quiet, and how much would it take? I will not remain silent. Go F yourself. I want to be polite as I can, but you know, there's certain words you got to use sometimes because this is sickness. So you and the public in general know that the kind of problems we're going through now. And the more people now really take this seriously, the better it's going to be for the rest of the nation tomorrow. And rest of the, look, especially the Muslim community, because we're blamed for everything. I've been going on a few lives. We're blamed for everything. You know what I mean? They do all these crimes. But this particular group, this one here, social services, they don't care if you're black, white, colored, in any shape. They don't care. They just see your children, and that's all they give a shit about. And now, does that mean it's all of them? Hell no.
No.
But do
But
these...
Rangi, they got their like finance car, finance house, all this, that, and the other. They're bound to the system by the shackles, yeah? Right? They got to meet their targets, yeah? They got to meet
Rangi, someone's
40, 50
recording.
grand, whatever they're making a year.
Someone's recording a live.
It's all right.
We're talking truth, yeah? Now, if, for me, for example, now, well, where I was, not now, but I'm outside of the UK, on and for the record, and for the recording, yeah? Right? Look, dude, end of the day, look, 20 houses this way, 20 houses that way. This is my community, yeah? Right? I live in the center, let's say. Right? I need to clean up outside my house.
Somebody muted him, I think, or did he mute himself?
No, sorry, I got muted by somebody. What I mean to say, look, like 20 houses where you live, this side and that side. Look, like I had some dude knocking on where my tenants are living now in my property, and it's school time. He's TV license guy, and he freaked out when he see like 50, 60, you know what I mean, like cars, whatever, coming and people walking. He napped himself, yeah, right? He's gone. He died. Right? I see on the camera. Where's he gone? He's died. Yeah, this is the thing, you know, they try to single out people and pluck them. Yeah, see what they can. Their vultures drain out what they can drain out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So end of the day, look, it's common law is the Torah law. Let's not get Islamic. Let's get biblical. Yeah,
Yeah.
love thy neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not make mushkil for your neighbor. Do not make hardship for your neighbor. Do not covet thy neighbor. Do not this is all written in stone, set in stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without getting biblical, but it's all set in stone.
No, you're right, and I'm just going to go into a comment earlier on. Somebody mentioned, now look, it doesn't matter who is recorded. At the end of the day, these are facts. And look, I'm directly on public media saying it's not every social worker. We know how the network works. We know how the system is. But now, if they're not going to deal with this, which the evidence is there, okay, the evidence has been presented to them, that means that they're aiding and abetting. That's not my issue. That's their issue. You understand? If they've kept hold of the police and lied to them and lied to the judges, and today they should be ashamed of themselves. The social services have blamed everything on the police, everything on the judges, everything on the school teachers, and everybody else. Oh, but good Lord, it's not us. Man, yous are liars, criminal storytellers, but at least we're not targeting all of yous. And we shouldn't be. Why? Because there's a lot of amazing, good social workers, a lot of great police officers through my time and experience. And you know what? Damn right, I will not let anybody target everybody, because that's just wrong. But because I'm an Asian man, they don't like me being vocal. There's obviously got an issue. But today, there's obviously an Englishman who's a Christian, so there's two of us. But really, there's thousands of us, but we're all now coming together, because at the end of the day, we're not bothered what colour, creed. We need to come together. We need to support.
Rangi, to be honest with you, you look like a proper Englishman. Yeah, your accent is proper English, right? Right? You know what I mean? But
well, I am an Englishman. I'm born and bred here. I love fish and chips. Anybody listening? I love it.
But regular Englishman only know chicken and chips, right? But the thing is, Rangi, look, right? Thing is, look, bro. End of the day, look, they try to pressure, deceive the people, get them into the fucking system, get them undermined. And
Ali Trainer, do me a favor. Let me get Gary involved in this conversation. Gary, with what he's been mentioned at the end, forget about the beginning about me, because you already know about the false information that's been presented. Forget that. What's your intake with what he's bringing in?
Sorry, say that again, the last bit.
What's your intake? Because this falls down the lines of obviously breaking silence and speaking up, and communities come together with what Ali was mentioning, or Ali Trainer. Do you want to jump in as well while we're at it?
Yeah, well, he's absolutely right. We need to unite, but we need a collective strategy to unite over. I can't emphasize this enough. We can be talking continuously for months. We need to be actually acting whilst we still can. People need to be doing something proactive to ensure that we do change this system. It's clearly not only broken, it's a criminal system. We have to change it. It's very, very simple. There is no other option, okay, because they will enslave us into not only this system, but something a lot worse very, very soon if we don't actually stand up to this. So I urge everybody to unite, to either look at my collective strategy document, which I've done, which summarizes my evidence, and you can look at videos, and if anyone has any other ideas, but my suggestion is that we need peaceful non-compliance by everyone as soon as possible, whilst we can still do it. This is so important. A comment earlier, somebody said, is the evidence that I was talking about earlier an administration error? No, it's not 100%, because Companies House have the document. They're forging and putting a completely different company name, but still attaching that document to the register, and putting the correct date. So no, it's not an administration error. This is 100% a crime by our governments. Okay, 100%. I was in the police for 18 years. I know this for a fact. All right, we know it's true because they're ignoring all of the evidence. Okay, many people that I'm trying to help me expose this evidence are not doing it. I'm then finding out they're connected to the same system of fraud. And Rangi is one of the only people now in the UK that is allowing me to expose this evidence. So that, I believe, is why Rangi is being targeted by certain individuals, because he's allowing the truth to come out over this system. I am being silenced everywhere I go. My TikTok was removed after I did the second live with Rangi. Rangi had 2 devices blow up on him. Okay, the batteries blew up. Okay, my YouTube was completely removed after I submitted a report about adrenochrome to the police, where they're appearing to try and set fires around the country to destroy evidence as I'm exposing it. This is the key, everybody. I can promise you. And it links in, sorry, Rangi, it links into everything Rangi is talking about, because not every social worker will be part of this, but I know that some of them have companies linked to this illegal system that I'm exposing. Barristers are linked to it. Some police officers are linked to it. And it's because they can launder tax contributions that's worth trillions of pounds through these illegal entity companies. Okay, that's what we need to remember. So the public are being defrauded through the system. Sorry, Rangi, go on.
Yeah, all I was going to say, just to add on that, look, I've mentioned
Gary.
One second, Ali. All I want to say is, you know, when Gary's mentioning that, you see, I might not have the information on that, but Gary does. Okay? Anybody that wants any form of clarity, including anybody who's listening, just get in touch with me. He's giving you the details. He's giving you the emails. He's giving you the evidence. Anything that I'm talking about, just get in touch with me. I'll give you the information. I'll give you the evidence in black and white. This is done deliberately what I'm talking about, and which is what he's talking about. That eventually then links up. But either way, at the end of the day, who's affected by it? It's our children. I hope people understand that. Ali Trader, if you could just add on to what you were going to say there. Sorry about interrupting you.
Gary, I just want to respond, Gary, like with all due respect, dude,
Yep.
like this is like a money siphoning, laundering organization, yeah?
Yeah.
Company house don't mean dick. You can open up a company tomorrow on your cat's name, yeah? And if you do not submit accounts, yeah, that's going to get shut down within 18 months, yeah? But your money's gone from here to there, right? So these motherfuckers are using this anyway. So don't look at company's house. Listen, dude, I fucking, mate, listen to me, honestly. I was in love with the system, you're right? And the system come and fuck me, yeah? Back in the day.
Can you do me a favor? I know occasionally I do slip up with a wrong word. I don't intentionally want to. Try to bring it, not in everything we can.
I get it. But Gary,
not that I'm worried about the
life.
live. That's not going anywhere.
But Gary, look, like back in the day, 25 years ago, I thought, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this, do that. Yeah, bro, the system was against me, right? I'm a disabled person, right? I try to, do what I got to do, right? And bruv, end of the day, look, you can set up a company today and close it down tomorrow, right? This is their whole shenanigans, Gary. Look, we need to look in. Look, Gary, to be honest with you, you've only got like one, how do they say, like you look into the spectrum, one eye to look into the spectrum, right? End of the day, look, bro, you want to make money, okay, you pay your dues, and what are you going to do, right? But this is whole system control, yeah? And they are sort of like, look,
we understand that, but Ali, do me a favor, just give me a second, because there is a couple of people waiting, because I just want to get as many questions and answers done before we end, because it's got to be productive. And any professional, police officers, social workers, please don't be scared, don't be shy. Just join in if you can, you know what I mean? Let's have a rational conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. I know.
Yeah.
Gary's talking
But
about
just hold on, because I'm going to go to Jason, because he's just been the person's been waiting. I want to give everybody the opportunity. Just put yourself on mute if you can. Jason, is it Jason Vans? If okay, it's not. It's gone. Gary, can you still hear me, or is this happening just to me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, right. So it's not. It's me. It's somebody. I don't know what's just happened. I think he just went off. So
Frankie, can I read an email that I've had today, which is relevant to what I'm talking about?
yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm getting a lot of emails. Obviously, this is just one that I had today that ties in with the evidence that I'm talking about. Okay, so I've got to be careful what bits I read. Obviously, I don't want to disclose who it is. So it says, "Hi Gary, I was very interested in your TikTok earlier. It covers a lot of things that I already know, plus ties in into some other bits potentially. I was sent away to a horrid boarding school where abuse happened." Bear with me. I've just got to scroll down. Bear with me. Thankfully, I got away quite lightly when it came to sexual abuse from teachers, but many people have opened up and shared their horrific stories. This did trigger a whole school investigation called Operation Seaside, but that was shut down after 18 months. A friend of mine, somebody else, found discrepancies in accounts relating to the sale of the school. Okay, so this will link into the fraud. Sorry, Rangi.
No. Carry on, mate. I was just putting Smokey on mute. I wanted you to finish off. Sorry.
Okay, so they found discrepancies in accounts relating to the sale of the school and the education trust, who still exist, and effectively millions of pounds are missing, but nobody wants to know. The Police Charities Commission, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, just not interested. I'll tell you why, because they're all involved. I've got the evidence. Okay, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, Michael Lockwood was the head of that organisation. He was arrested for seven sexual offences, allegations. Okay, I've got evidence linking him to this system of frauds through Companies House. This is the head of the Independent Office for Police Conduct. Bear with me, Ali. Can I finish? Okay, so I'll just read on. During revelations, the chap said that he had been abused, not at the school, but by someone connected to the school who was a friend of a lord. Okay, so it's connected to Parliament. And that's what I'm finding all the way through. We have lords, we have baronesses. The President of the United States is linked to this. Okay, our Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, previous Prime Minister, is linked to this. He'd used a false date of birth on Companies House. That's a crime. That's fraud. Whoever had input that information for him. Okay, Keir Starmer is linked to this. Our Prime Minister is part of this. I'm not just saying this, I wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't true. The evidence is there. So this is a systematic, fraudulent system linked to child abuse, which ties in with everything Rangi's talking about on the base level, with the victimization right at the base, with the abuse, with the exploitation. It all linked. Bear with me, Ali.
Yeah.
Ali. And it is all of the evidence is shown through Companies House.
I know.
It's all shown on Companies House. Carry on.
Yeah, so just to add or actually direct people, look, if anybody wants to see the evidence, including anybody who's on listening in for a second, 1 second, Ali, you need to give us a chance, please. This information can be made available, which you're making it available, aren't you, Gary?
Yeah, it's there for everybody to see.
So anybody can obtain this information, okay? So that completely sets that side of it. And I'm just going to repeat it again. Anything to do with what I'm talking about, this information will and is already being made available. Ali, go ahead. What you were just saying there?
Yeah, brother, you don't need to mute me. Please, you know, when the next guy speaks...
No, I don't want you to overspeak, because then we can't...
I didn't do overspeak, but... You know, bro, like, please, you know, if the next guy is speaking and to respond, I don't mute myself. You mute me.
No, you could respond after they finish. I don't mind that, but not during, because then it echoes.
Brother, if you're gonna 2-3 times gonna mute me, then like I do not feel welcome in this environment. Yeah.
No, but brother, I'm just saying you're more than welcome. But if you overspeak, we can't understand. So everybody, see now, he's finished, I've finished. Now You go ahead. Just go to your point.
Overspeak is disrespectful. So I should not be involved in the, conversation. If I'm going to overspeak somebody else, like we have somebody speak, I reply, somebody speak, reply. That's it. So I don't want to overstep myself. So that's why I said I will recluse myself, What Gary's saying, no, respond to Gary. Gary.
Okay, Ali, what he's saying is when someone's finished talking, then when they've gone a second silence, you can then speak and respond. But if you over talk on someone, they can't hear you, you can't hear them, and it's echoing on our side.
That's right. That's not really right, is it?
Right, go on, get to the point of what you're saying. I think this question is for Gary, because I want to get to the next person, Smokey.
Life is beautiful, sorry. That's the thing. Somebody says something, and, we listen to them, and then you respond. That's it.
Ali, do you have a question for me?
Gary, to be honest with you, look, dude, enough love.
Can we move on? Because Ali is just delaying. There's nothing really happening here.
Ali, just ask him the question, brother. If you got a question, just ask him, because he's being transparent. Just ask him the question. Don't worry about the muting. That's I've explained that situation. Just ask him the question.
Gary, I'm sweating now. My battery's on like 5%. Look, dude, the whole company sales bullshit is a shenanigans of something. You can set up a company now, right? Dissolve it in. You don't submit the accounts, mate. That company is getting kicked out. Yeah, so you can run your shenanigans for probably 12 to 18 months, right? And then your company is getting kicked out, right? And then you can put the company on some do name. Do is the managing director, right? So you rinse all the money out, and that's how they run, right? So the money is circulated, gone to Cayman Islands. Yeah, you get that. But Gary, honestly, it's more to this slavery by consent.
It's much more deeper than that. Can I add something?
Not about your company. Who's the company director? They can put Hungo Bungo. Whatever the name they want to put it on the company. Right?
Yeah,
At the end of the day, listen, mate, the funds are going to the
Can we get rid of Ali? Can we get rid of Ali? He's just, I'm sorry, there's a lot of people commenting as well saying get rid of him. He's just, we're not, that's it, well done.
Right. Okay. Look, I want people to understand. Let's stick to the topic. Let's keep moving forward. And when there's a question, get it done, because there's so many people waiting as well. It just gives everybody the time. If there's a comment or a question you want to say it rapidly, just get it done. No problem. No issues. Life is beautiful. Did you say something there?
Sorry. I was dying to do that. I'm sorry. But
well, look, I want to show everybody respect. And, in general, the gentleman's absolutely great. Maybe he was about the mutant business, but I do that because you got to understand different platforms run differently. Here, everybody gets the opportunity. Look, you're going to see how it works as we've been doing it all night. Can I get Smokey in next, please? Smokey, can you mute yourself, please? Smokey.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Stan, brother. Did you have a comment or question for me or Gary or anybody on the panel that you might want to ask?
I just think Gary's speaking sense. To be fair, he's just trying to get his point across. Yeah, that's all. And in regards to Ali, I think he's got one more, two other issues other than the issue that we've got on topic. To be fair, so that's all I want to say. But yeah, Gary, go for it, mate. I'm backing you, bro.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'll mute myself again, Rangi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother. Can I have send that bottom one? Because the screen is so small, I can't read it.
Hi, Rangi.
Mate, you all right?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Did you have a comment or a question that you might want to ask?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't catch everything that Gary said because I came into the space or into the live quite late. So I'm wondering, Gary, if you can send me a DM so we could have a chat. I'm very interested in the financials of this because whilst the emphasis of all of the problems that we're having are not financial, it became financial when it started making fucking trillions, and that attracted a lot more problems on top of problems anyway. So I'd be very keen to have a look at any financials you've got there, Gary. If you can give us a shout, mate, and maybe we can have a chat at some point if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I give you my email and then I can give it, everyone else can hear it as well then, if you're ready to jot it down? Yeah. So my email is Gary, the truth sets us free. It's one R in Gary. So Gary, the truth sets us free at gmail.com. That's Gary, the truth sets us free at gmail.com. Anyone can email me. I will send all of the evidence, including a public document file link out. You can go and look at it all. You'll see everything I'm saying is true. It's being added to as we go, including a document I'm putting together linking Julian Assange to the deception in a vast, vast way. So go and look at it. You can email me, Gary, the truth sets us free at gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Can I add there with Gary, Julian Assange, you know, I've been connected on the political and press. I was asked very cannily when he first got incarcerated, shall we say, in the embassy in London. I suddenly had the ex-military individual, and I'm going to mention no names because he's in the Telegram group. I couldn't mention anything to you in there at all, so I have to try and get some information to you about that individual and his connection and how he got connected to the I've done my homework on him like you, and the background to his father and the father's wife. And you look at the father's wife and her background, goes back to Australia, and it all links to the 13 Red Line family. And freedom of speech and all that, and poor best we can. But when, obviously, we talk about the Lords earlier, I would add this bit. When I was at the parties, right, Randy, the blackmail and the money side of it is very much interlinked.
Are you still there, English Rose?
Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, I've been monitored. I've got to be careful. Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a lot of certain individual in question knows how to hack. And certain things are going on. I can't say specifics. But where I was just trying to say about the parties, what you said about the Lords, House of Lords, these people at the parties are mixed with, and how it is linked to the money. The blackmailing is, I've got to be careful what I say. It's very much interlinked, and what you're getting out with the bigger picture of that email you read out, with that guy with the schools. When I was raised, I was offered to go to these private schools, but for some reason my mother decided not to. And thank goodness, because obviously what we know now. But I'll just come along with the fact. Has Gary, anyone watching, listening, is uncovering, as witnessing things firsthand all those years ago, and knowing what I know, it's so wonderful that it's coming to light. Because survivors, you need a closure, and it's taken me years to still find a closure of what I've seen and what I know. And a lot of you out there, you're risking your life every minute of the day, because they ain't going to stop, but we've got more of us than them. I guarantee you on that one. So thanks,
You're dead right there, English Road. You're dead right there, 100%. And, you know, can you imagine we're actually in a state of life at the moment where victims of these kind of heinous crimes are actually being targeted? I can never get around to it, to understand it, but I try not to understand it now. All I know is what I need to know is what's the solution for it, because we're not going to tolerate this. We don't care who it is. Color, creed, background, none of that will make no difference. Yeah, let's go to Darren. Is it Darren James?
It is. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Gary.
Hi, Darren.
Hello, how you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. Yeah, good, thank you.
As you are well aware, I have been subjected to such ridiculous levels of local police corruption. I've now, to the point, have, like yourself, the undeniable evidence of police corruption where I live. And like you, I'm building my case up against my local chief constable about his corruption. And I'd love to collaborate with you guys as well to expose even more.
Fantastic.
You got our full support there, Darren. Let me tell you that now, because everything revolves around our children and their future, if we are to have a future, okay? So this is, if everybody's thinking, if there's ever a fight worth having a fight, this is it.
Well,
and that doesn't mean violence. Nobody's talking about violence. So just, you know, you can fight in different ways. So this is like a political fight with information and evidence to put the stop to these atrocities. But Darren, you got, I'm sure Gary feels the same way. You have our full support. Gary, do you want to add on to anything what Darren just mentioned, which is good? And we're going to support him. But Gary?
No, I think, Darren, was you going to ask something else or say something else then?
Yeah, basically, right. I mean, I had to protect my 17-year-old son, well, 16-year-old son last year from these, pardon my French, corrupt bastards. They actually put me in prison last year corruptly, and I have the undeniable evidence of this. And my son fell out with his mother, and they came and arrested my then 16-year-old autistic child and locked him up for 17 hours. And just like the mental torture that they put him through, asking questions about him, what he was doing, and me, and basically trying to distance him from me to try and take him away from me.
Right. I'm sorry for what you've gone through.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm extremely sorry for what you're going through. But let me tell you something, they're not going to stop targeting. You mentioned about jail, how they're putting you behind bars. For those who are skeptical, you know, it's good to actually speak to direct people who are involved. And if you want to actually attend courts, in the next 30 days, there is actually a court case will be happening. I'm not going to give the details right now, where a public member, just like yourself, a victim of child SA, that this corporate company here covered it up and now they're trying to silence that person. I will be releasing the information as soon as the date is given to me. So come have a look yourself, okay? Yeah. Seeing is believing, and the information is coming out. Yeah, go on.
Absolutely. Sorry.
Randy, that individual you just mentioned, the female, could you DM me? And I think you're on Telegram with Gary and I, aren't you? And the group, because there's certain things I could assist her with on the law side to how to get that rebutted and quashed, and get the first-hand evidence of what's assumptions being made, because it's a civil matter. Okay. So I'm quite versed how to get that quashed, but could we talk private about that, if I can help in any way?
No, I could definitely do the help and support, because let me tell you something, the problem I have, let me give you a description of how I've ended up in this situation. When in 2020, when I broke silence because this corporate company did all this, and I was entrapped. And after them all accepting it and then blamed all the judges for it. Now, I like to do fact findings, not crap findings, so I ain't going to blame no judges. That's their job. So I broke silence. When I broke silence, I was telling the public, this is what's happening. I need your help and support. And what I found was that 99% public members come forward because they were going through the same thing. So from me releasing this information or trying to release this information, I found myself, because I remember, honest to God, it's like yesterday, I remember them times I went through where it was so traumatizing that anything was possible. You
Guys,
understand?
just quick, I want to say something.
Is that up until we don't actually take control and make sure that our children are safe, this is going to keep happening. It's just unfortunate, and I'm very, very sorry to hear the brother say that. Do you know what I mean? And I will pray for you, my bro. I'm
gonna give you more there, Smokey. Just 1 second, Darren. Just hold on for a second, because I need you to, because I'm gonna fulfill exactly what English Rose said. So I started to speak to anybody who wanted any form of advice, guidance. I'm not a solicitor. I'm not a lawyer. I don't go through your documents because I can't help you with that. I could only point you the direction where to go. Or, for example, I had people who wanted at a point of committing suicide. I would tell them, don't do that, brother. Don't do that, sister. If something happens to you, who's going to fight for your children? I knew the system. I knew what they were doing. So it's like being in a cage fighting one person, which was the social services, okay? So I'm fighting away, and I've got people in the crowd saying, hey, I need your help for this and that. So I'm answering their questions. So then what happens, the way the system works, then they open the gates up and they send another person. So now it's 2-on-1. So I'm fighting 2-on-1, so I'm trying to block myself, taking the licks, and getting smacked as well, and then still trying to help more and more people. And now it's come to a point where there's a dozen people inside the cage. They can't fight fair. They're a bunch of cowards, they're liars, criminal storytellers. And now there's that much that's gone on that I can still deal with it, but I can't do it simultaneously on my own, because my weakness is the public. So English, if you could actually send me a private message, let me start working with you and giving you the information, because there's just too much. I can't simultaneously do it on my own. But don't get me wrong, I've took enough as I can. Threats are coming in that I can't do nothing about. But I don't want you to worry about me. You know what? The only thing I actually ask anybody for me is remember me in your prayers. I don't want your money. I don't want nothing else. You know what I mean? Because all I care is about our children. People don't like it. And, you know, same as social workers in the public doing the same thing. So if you're a victim, you get victimized. That's the same as exactly what's happening in the public. Darren, let me come straight to you first before I go to Smokey there.
Okay,
what are you saying, Darren?
First of all, guys, I mean, Gary sends me his stuff and his research and everything else like that. I've read it, looked through it, and I can vouch for Gary 100% in what he's done, and I would back him all day long, every day, along with yourself, because I've seen it, I've read it, and I believe it.
Well, just on that note, Gary, sorry about it, Gary. Just on that note, what I am going to do, and I'm going to try to get it done by, say, Monday, Tuesday, everything that Gary has in relation to the information he has, I'm going to arrange it with him. I'm going to stick it all on this website with his name on it. All of it will be broken down. So if you want to go in there and download it, feel free to do that. Is that all right, Gary?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to get this out there to as many people as we can.
As you well know, mate, I share everything that you send me via our links and everything else like that. I spread the news. As you're probably well aware, I am probably one of the biggest truthers on the planet. I spread every piece of information I can about every piece of corruption that we get subject to every day.
No, well, that's
thanks,
brilliant.
Thanks, Darren. This is the truth. This is the key to all of our problems. I'm certain of it.
Well, you know my thoughts on Charlie, mate. I send you enough.
Yes, mate.
Now, the only thing I'm going to say in that, fortunately, I can't put everything on public media because you can see what I'm talking about. Speaking about all these things puts children at risk. But I can't speak one-to-one or in conferences without going on public media because I can't afford to put any child or public member at risk. If you put that aside, then I can speak about anything. And look, everything I'm doing, look, it's very, very simple here. What is it? Let's be realistic. Due to safeguarding and child protection, I'm limited what I can say. And I mean that because I've just explained to you very, very simply what I can or what I can't do. And this is the reason why I'd love to put it in public media. I've actually shared some of this with Gary, which obviously maybe he'll comment on it later on. But you can actually see all this, but I've got to always consider myself in that position because I can't put any victim in the firing line. I can't put any child in the firing line, but I don't mind shotting the pedos and the corruption in front of the bus. I've got no objections with that.
Send
So if
me
you want me
everything, mate, and I'll share the shit out of it.
well, Darren, you send me the information. Give me a link. Contact me. I'll share with you things, and then as long as you do the safeguarding on it, you can share it. And let me tell you something: seeing is believing.
Oh,
And
I've already believed, mate. Don't worry.
yeah, well, I know the ones that are awake. I don't need to. But let me just jump straight to the brother Smokey. There, can you mute yourself because I do want you to have your say with what's been going on.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Absolutely. I mean, I was just saying that firsthand, I've worked for social services previously. So I know exactly firsthand, because I was first point of contact. So I know exactly what is the ins and the outs. I just think that it's just unfortunate where us as parents don't even have much control in regards to where things work. And I think that's the strong point. You know, if for example, a mother will give a birth. A mother gives birth to a child, and a mother has more than anybody's love towards that child and protection for that child. But what happens now is, like Gary said, very rightfully so, is that it's a system. It's a system where it's corrupt, absolutely, because I've seen First Point where there's things coming in where it's not even acknowledged, you know, and then the minorest of things are acknowledged. So yeah, absolutely, I believe that it's all to do with money. It's all to do with just making themselves look good, you know, and it's scary to be fair with you, because what can you do? You know, what can we do up until we don't actually, like you said, rightfully so, Rangi. If you put it out there, you know, you don't have control of media, which we appreciate, but as long as we can make that first step, I think we can make changes. Because to be fair with you, the way the system's going at the moment, it's all commission based, you know, because if you look at it, even if you look at, for example, the police in the UK, or if you look at any sort of organisation, whatever it may be, even Britain is registered as a company. So it's all a money-making scheme. And up until we don't, you know, stick together, or at least raise our voices, then to be honest with you, I don't know where this is going to happen. I mean, I'm much younger than you guys, but it's just, you know, I'm just afraid. And when I listen to you guys, likes of yourself, Rangi and Gary, and the honourable gentleman Darren, it's scary. You know, it's very, very scary, because we need to be involved in what's going on. And up until we don't actually put our point forward, this will keep happening. You know, and it will always be covered up for the likes of, I mean, if somebody speaks up, you know, you're such and such and this and that and whatever. I don't want to get into too much detail. I'm a law graduate, so I know how to speak and when to speak and what to say. But I just think that, yes, absolutely, and I'm backing you, Rangi, I'm backing you, Gary, and I'm backing you, Darren. And I think that we need to make a movement where, at least if we can't change things, at least we can educate people so we can move forward from what Rangi's got up there, because there's not one thing on there that anybody can dispute, because unfortunately that's the way it is. You know, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Rangi.
No, well, thank you very much for that. But I'm glad I learned a little bit of your background. I'm sure I'm in a messaging basis with you anyway, because everything I'm talking about, I am willing to share everything. Just all it is on public media myself. I can't talk about certain things because it automatically puts children at risk. These deliberately will throw our children under the bus, and I can't do that. But I'm more than happy to give you every piece of evidence that I have where crimes they take place, or basically in a nutshell, that these are liars, criminal storytellers, and they'll stitch up their own social worker members. Let me tell you that. It's very, very simple. So anybody who's serious about these topics, and it's only now that I can't really give it to anybody unless I know you, because there's a lot of perpetrators out there who think that
No, absolutely, Randy, sorry for interrupting, but I can confirm that the majority of these social services, if you like, they, each and every situation that they cause, they are able to obtain funding for that situation that's being caused. You know, and that's the scary thing. You know, it's not about looking at the person or trying to help the person. It's about the fact that building. Well, it's an organisation. You know, it's a LLC, if you like. It's just what it is.
It's LCS, liars, criminal storytellers. So
I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that.
I need to just add there, all social services are embedded in England as trusts. So all the assets are in the body of the trust. And so all the assets are in the body of the trust. And what one needs to go after is the CEO or board of director responsible of that trust management or the finance. And obviously, if one looks at the website or look at bills that was changed at 1882, there isn't any money. Okay, monetary system don't exist. It's just fiat currency, numbers on the computer. But anyway, I just wanted to add that because social services is just a corporation and their agents are just literally just puppets, as you know, Randy. And the Ministry of Justice, you say about courts, there is a company, Petty France, head office in London, and they're all separated in all towns and cities. Each court is set up as its own company. So, I mean, of course, a lot of people may not grasp all that yet, but it's quite straightforward for me to break down and get the documents done, because it's a civil, unless it's a common law offence where someone's harmed another living man or woman, then everything's all commercial and it's civil matter, which can be counterclaimed and rebutted on an affidavit. So I can assist where I can in amongst what I'm going through. Thank you.
Sister, you made a point. Sorry, Rangi. Sister's made a point there. Absolutely, it is. And you know the thing is, Sister Rose, the problem is that the majority of people are not aware about that fact.
That's right.
Tactics, the scare tactics. Until you know what the actual difference is in between lawfulness, and an act, if you like.
The words.
It's good. Yeah, absolutely. It's completely different.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely there's hell and back difference. You know, and that's the unfortunate thing. Anyway, I've got to leave. I've got to go to work in the morning. I hope you guys and I wish you guys the best of luck. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. Rangi, my brother, I will pray for you inshallah in the morning. And yeah, I'll pray for the rest of you as well. Gary,
Thank you, Smokey. Thank you.
Darren, you do your thing. Yeah, man. And hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, my brother. I'm just going to add on to one thing what English Rose said. So for those layman languages, social services is not our government. For those who are deluded, who are thinking that it's our government, it's not our government. I've been repeating this for the last 4 years. It's a private corporate company, firstly owned by foreign internationals as well, that are doing business. In that business, this is what's going on. And the payments, what they get, it's on my TikTok. You can have a look yourself. Okay? This is a business taking place by a corporate company. Okay? So don't be thinking it's our government. It's not our government. The police is the same, and we could go on. This is why we're having this problem today, because they're thinking that we're cattle and they could do business with our children, our mothers, our daughters, our little baby girls and baby boys. We're not going to allow that. Darren, were you going to say something there? Sorry, sir.
I've been subjected to it, mate. Like last year, not last year, the year before, my son called Richie Sunak a terrorist at school. Just because he called Rishi Sunak a terrorist at school, I was subjected to social services, subjected to anti-terrorism police. My son got removed from school. I'm now having problems getting him in college. I actually physically removed the social worker from my home and told him if he came back again, I'd kick the fucking shit out of him.
No.
So I've been subjected to the tyranny of social services and their cronies for like the last 3-4 years. It's only now got to the point of where I've educated myself by buying myself a Black's Law dictionary, watching guys like yourself, watching other truthers, learning, informing and educating myself, which I beg people to do. Go out there, educate yourself, inform yourself as to what these fucking arseholes in charge are doing and how their tactics are. Learn everything you can.
Can I butt in? You've got someone in the chat around it's important. He's saying, Dan, he's saying he's getting arrested. It says, if it's urgent, I can assist.
Dan, if you need some help, mate, give me a shout.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look. He's not even requested.
Okay.
Gary, I think you have his details.
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, I'll give him a call and then come back on your live in a minute. I'll give him a call.
Do that.
Gary, if you need any help, mate, let me know.
Right, he's giving him a call. He'll come back. That's not an issue. You see, these are the kind of problems that people are faced. This will happen daily. The public need to wake up. I mean, I don't know what's actually happening in that Pacific situation that's going on right now, but it is concerning. But I do know a little bit about the man. He's gone through problems with this corporate company. They have lost children and they don't want to stay silent. So there is a bit of an issue there. If I could just, in the meantime, if I go, is it Daniel Jones, is it?
Yeah, that's it. You're right. Hello. Yeah,
Hello,
I'm just trying to give a point of information. Some people talking about money and Richie Sunak. Now, Richie Sunak, his government gave Sunak's wife, company and 2 other companies double the pay that social services get for fostering children. So this was even more privatisation of the system. But another point of information: his wife's father, who is in the UN, owns a company called Info SYS. One word.
Yeah, he got a massive donation from Rishi. I think it was around about 5 million quid.
Right. Okay. So Info SYS is the company that plan on introducing central bank digital currency into the UK. And if they get their CBDC, we are all screwed because they can just switch us off and we're not even part of the system. So we're
good luck trying that with me.
They could just switch us off. They've already done this thing where they turn people's bank accounts off, and so I just wanted to put that bit of information out there.
No, that's all right, Daniel. Thanks for that. I just want to point out, maybe people are thinking sometimes we're diverting the topic. I want to remind you, all these topics lead back down to our kids. If this happens and we have no money, which is your own money, how are you going to feed your kids? You see, everything leads down to the same thing of the whole life. The way of life that we know it is being attacked. The way of life is being attacked right now. And whether it comes to any of these topics or the banking side of it, it all leads down to the same thing, same problem, same issues. That what are we going to do? And which is very, very disturbing.
From what I can gather from it, that all these people that are doing this are all part of a satanic cult, a global satanic cult that are basically stealing children. And in the UK, they're doing it through the legal system.
No, 100%. And this is why people need to wake up. And this is why I try to keep it simple. You know, people are doing these crimes on our children, stealing our children. If that's not enough to wake up, what else is it? What is more worth waking up for? Our military goes internationally to fight war. What for? Allegedly to protect the nation, but to protect the women and children and homes back at home. Correct? Look at where we've got to today.
I can tell you one thing, Rangi. I can tell you one thing, Rangi. Every advert I see to join the British military, my exact words are, any individual deluded enough to go and fight for a bunch of elite paedophiles seriously need their head looking at. I've got that on every single advert I see everywhere.
No, but this is the thing. This is why it's so important that people wake up. There's so many topics that we've touched on. Everything leads back to all these kind of problems that we're going through. And you know, it's a case of how many sticks of dynamite do we need to put between the ears? How much evidence that you want? Now look, it's okay being curious. I mean, I mentioned this loads of times before. You know, there's a saying in England, curiosity killed the cat. Well, if you're curious, make your way down. All of us will share the evidence when we slaughter all the cats for you, put you out your misery. Okay? And you know, being skeptical is also healthy. But there's a fine line between being skeptical and being stupid. Okay? Fact findings, not crap findings. Very, very simple.
Love those words,
mate. Go to you, Daniel, first.
Yeah, sorry. I've heard that the Russians have shut down adrenochrome factory, but I've got no evidence for this. It's rumours that I've heard, and apparently this is the whole reason why they're doing what they're doing, the Russians, because they're trying to shut this down, the global system down. This is why they've gone on the gold standard as well. You've got the BRICS nations, you've got Brazil, Russia. India,
China and South Africa.
South Africa, yeah, they've gone on the gold standard. Half the world is now on the gold standard. That means that the power is going away from the dollar. I hope the system collapses. It's going to be a terrible time, but I really hope it does collapse. And going after these people in this way is definitely a good part of it. You know what I mean? Because this is part of what they're doing, but. You know, they're coming at us from all different angles, even the COVID thing.
Yeah,
you know,
right. Daniel, sorry, just 1 second. Gary, you're back in.
Enough now, anyway. Thank you.
Daniel, thank you very much for joining. But stay in touch. Let's start coming together because everybody needs to now come together. We're just fighting for our children. That's the main cause of everything. Or main reason, shall I say, more importantly, main reason that we need to stand together. Gary, everything all right?
Yes, yeah, hopefully, yeah, he's all right. He might be arrested soon, but I just said we'll just be compliant and keep you calm. But yeah, in relation to, sorry, there was a few things said earlier. First of all, thank you very much for the support from Smokey. I know he's gone and Darren's still here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, mate.
No, I appreciate it. You know, this is very simple in my mind, okay? It's not going to be long until we don't have the ability for a peaceful resolution for this, okay? At the moment, we have the power of our withdrawal of finances to actually make a difference. So I keep saying this. I really do urge peaceful non-compliance of the financial system. I am going to start pushing for what I think we're going to need to do is an international strike fairly soon to change this, because we are not far away at all from them gaining full digital currency control over all of us. People really need to understand this. If we don't act soon, we are in serious trouble. Okay.
Right. What I'm going to do is always can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right. I'm just feeling a little bit woozy, so I'm going to take probably about 20 minutes, half an hour. So I'm going to leave you and Gary. Keep things going. I'm going to see if I can make another cup of coffee as well. There are other people. Anybody that wants to get in, just do one at a time. And anybody who's finished, for example, you've got a box spare there at the moment, so you can get more people in general. So I'm going to leave it with you, as Gary. I'm going to leave it with you, my brother. Darren, just stay there. I will be back shortly, okay?
No problem, mate.
Thanks,
One thing
Randy.
I just want to say, sorry, Gary. One thing I just want to say is in about the next 2 weeks, I'm starting something called Devoted Dads. So if there are any dads out there having problems in the court, you need a Mackenzie friend who's actually got the bollocks to turn around to these judges and say, I want a lawful, legal reason as to why you're stopping me from seeing my children.
Well, I'll get you a whole load of those. I'll just add that out before I go. I'll be back shortly.
No worries, mate.
Well done, Darren. That sounds brilliant. Let us know how that goes, and we'll help promote that for you to try.
Fantastic, mate. Thank you.
All right.
Hello everybody.
MD
Hello everyone.
Monero? MD Monero. Hello.
Yes, it's Mohammed here. You can call me MD Mohammed. I'd like to share with you guys very, very important story. It just happened 2 days ago.
Lovely. Go for it. Thank you.
So the story is about us, our family, but due to the legal reason, I cannot mention their name, but I'm just telling you. Right. So their parents' first child has been stolen at the 9 months old.
Sorry to hear that.
Every child has go through the global development milestone at 9 months. After the week later of that check, the local authority went to the court behind the parents' back, introduced the father to the judges, saying that he is a danger for his child and his wife. We must need to remove them. Meanwhile, the father, actually working for the local authority in local government, day in, day out with the children. The father is not drug addicted, not alcohol taker, not have any criminal conviction on his name. Right, this is the chapter of the dad. So falsely, behind the parents, they went to the court to take the child away. They took the child away, right? And then they went to the court. Instead of 26 weeks, they took 72 weeks because there was nothing to hold parents accountable. Why they took the child? They couldn't come out with anything. But what is most interesting things, on the 9-month global development milestone check, the child was taking every single box. His development has no delay, no hamper at all, while he was his parents' care. 4 months into the local authority's care, a health visitor found out that he's got development delay. The local authority now trying to put that on the parents, saying that his development delay because of the parents' behavior.
What?
Right. This is not the only things, let me tell you. So they went to the court. Now they does not want to adopt him. They doesn't want to take him for permanent foster care because they got nothing to do all these things. They went to the court saying that we need to give the child therapy because he's got development delay. He doesn't is fixed. So we need a therapeutical period. The barrister of the parent side asked, how long do you need? They recommended we need 1 year at least. So in this meantime, 1 year, what do you want to do? They said every month we will go around the professional, also therapist. If the therapy goes well.
Lawful, legal reason as to why they can't have their child.
No, there's nothing such a thing has been given. Even since the moment it has been taken by the court saying that they need a therapeutical period, it is now 3 years, still they does not show the child to the parents. They're now telling the parents they're going to adopt him. But that's not the one thing. Look, the interesting part is coming. While the case going on, the parents was expecting their second child. And then they moved to the different council as well because they bought the house nearest council, neighborhood council. They moved it there, and their authority referred to the another council saying that these parents wanted to us, so you need to go through them. So that new council at a meeting when the mother pregnant 33 weeks, they want to remove that child on birth. It's called pre-birth child protection, something like that. Luckily, from that meeting, someone know the parents. They informed the parents, and the parents moved to the one of the European country where it's safe and sound. They had their child over there. That day, mother went to there, flew to the Europe. The social worker manager called the father. You guys abducted a child. We are coming for you. The father simply asked her a question. What is the child name? What color child? What is the child date of birth? She said, you are mocking with that. The father said, I'm not mocking, but you saying that father abducted a child, parents abducted a child. I want to know what's the child name, what's the child age, what's the child date of birth.
He's under no obligation to give them any information whatsoever. Okay, what he needs to do is he needs to go to his barrister and demand that his barrister ask this question. What legal, lawful reason are you stopping me from seeing my child? I now want it in writing, legally, why I can't have my child. Get him to demand that from the judge.
We understood, and we're doing that already. So that part is already covered. But most interesting part is the child is Latvian child. He has a Latvian citizenship, Latvian passport. UK local authority, without consent from the parents, they made the British passport for the child.
Has there been any, sorry, Mohammed, has there been any legal advice obtained by the family at all?
No.
Okay. Is there a reason there's been no sort of legal advice?
There is a little bit of gap between the legal and this and that. Obviously, there was financial issues, but everything now we're resolving. Everything is come to on the parents' side at this moment. But what is shocking, there was a court hearing was on Thursday from Latvian authority, the state, Latvian government actually, against the UK government. They sent the case through the International Child Abduction Contact Unit.
Oh my God.
Use the Hague Convention, Article 9. When local authority knows about that the Latvian Central Authority sent the case to the UK, they rushed to get him British citizen to claim that he's our citizen. And
it's a political case, isn't it?
And that case was on Thursday.
Sex trafficking corruption to me.
Hold on, that case hearing took place on Thursday. The judicial system did not inform the parents. Social worker, no, they did not inform the parents. Luckily, parents somehow came to know that only 10 hours before the hearing.
This is, Mohammed, this is starting to be a very common story with a lot of things. And we know the whole system is corrupt. We know they're after people's children. Somebody else made a comment on there earlier, you know, the children through this child trafficking, it's worth so much money to per child. And this system enables them to launder the money through the taxation, you know, tax contributions are related to it as well. And it's vast. And unfortunately, this is not uncommon now. This is the sort of thing we're looking at. I mean, my evidence from Julian Assange, you'll see when I release the document, it links to a company, forget the exact name, but it's children and families across borders. When you go into that company, it's linked very closely to Save the Children. Many of you might have seen in the last week, there's when you go into that company, it's linked very closely to Save the Children. Many of you might have seen in the last week, there's been articles saying that Save the Children are being investigated for child trafficking and abuse.
Yeah, 100%, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But when the parents was in a court, everybody was like a mockery about the applicants, why applicants is not in the court. As soon as the parents came to know there is a hearing tomorrow, they contacted Latvian authority. Did you invited to join the court hearing tomorrow? They provided 2 emails to me saying that we contacted the legal system in the UK. They told us we don't need to attend this court tomorrow.
Whatever you do attend court. Go to the court.
Yes.
Don't. If they say to you, you don't need to, that's them lying.
No, we were informed about this case only 10 hours before. We was not prepared legally to violation and breach of Article 6.
Yeah, to get it adjourned.
When we say that, and we want to adjourn this hearing, and they immediately judge adjourned the hearing. When that breach of Article 6.
Yes, that's right. They breach their own protocols, and that is the case can be quashed on that ground quite easily. Yeah.
And their barrister disclosed something to the father, and very interesting. When the father said Latvian authority concerned of significant child abuse and child trafficking because their child, without their consent or the parents' consent, the UK authority claimed the UK British passport for the child. That's the class as the intentional child trafficking. Their barrister came to tell the father, saying that yes, I have already raised this matter yesterday with the local authority. We have concern about that too.
Wow.
So can you tell me what's going on in the UK? Why they capturing the children and kept holding those children? Why nobody talking about that? Why nobody raised their boys to protect the children?
Well,
We're doing that, mate. We're doing that.
We're trying, aren't we? We're trying, but the trouble you've got is mainstream media is involved in this, okay? So mainstream media won't publicise it because they're linked to this system of fraud. Most of them are illegal entities, okay? The BBC, we know, is massively linked to child trafficking. You've only got to look at a lot of the reports coming out. They're trying to make it look... They're doing all these investigations because they know that the evidence is now so overwhelming, they've got to drip feed the public to make them think they're doing something about it, but they're clearly not doing enough. And they must, I don't know what that is. They must change the system, okay? It's the only way this is going to stop. The system is set up to exploit, defraud, abuse children, but also exploit the general public through the taxation system. It must change. This is why the people now need to look at what I'm obviously going to say this, but I really think we've got to say enough is enough. We now have to say no and not consent to their criminal system. All right, this is brand new evidence over the last few months. If we all utilise this, I guarantee you, if we all stood behind this, we'd shut it down. You cannot have an illegal entity company acting in any way. They can't lawfully act if they're fraudulently registered in the first place.
Yeah.
Everyone started exposing this, but it needs the masses. It really does. And it needs peaceful non-compliance. Otherwise, we're not going to stop this. And Mohammed, your story is going to become even more common when they move to full digital currency control. It'll be a lot worse, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to add on, sorry about that, Darren. These kind of things simultaneously have been happening throughout the United Kingdom over the last 4 years while I've been raising this awareness. I mean, it doesn't matter what town you are. I mean, I've been to over 100 towns and cities myself. And this is why people, even though I spoke to one of the gentlemen earlier on, if you feel and believe that it's a concern, about children going through physical, emotional, psychological, it's child SA, or stealing children with fraudulent documentation. You think these are concerns that you need to do your little job. Everybody needs to share the information. We need to make public awareness. We need to have lectures. We need to do it. And that's like originally when I was doing demonstrations, then I started doing lectures, and I did have police officers turn up at the events, and mayors and MPs, and every single person has a unanimous decision that this is happening, what we're going to do. But what they were trying to say was it's only happening in one town and city. Well, that's not true, okay? Because now, if a lot of people will remember, I might have mentioned this before, once upon a time, you might have been able to say, well, where's this happening? Now, I would have been saying something in the lines of, well, it's happening in Middlesbrough, Stockton, Thornaby, Hartlepool. Now it's easier for me to say to you, you tell me where it's not happening. And you know, about 3.5, 4 months ago, I had a social worker who was on live. And when I mentioned specifically this, what I said, that social worker said, oh, it's not happening in a certain town. And immediately there and then, somebody's watching, well, I live in that town, it's happening to me. Then another one. It was like, that's it, it's game over. Because it is happening everywhere. And we need
ladies and gentlemen, I have to take a leave here. I've got 5 o'clock job.
It's like, that's it, it's game over. Because it is happening everywhere. And we need
ladies and gentlemen, I have to take a leave here. I've got 5 o'clock job.
And information is available. I am going to be dealing with, especially with Gary, with what he has. I will make it available on the website itself, but it'll be under his title, so everything that I collect of him will be made available. This is also to the professionals now, to anybody, whether you're police or anybody in that remit. These are concerns. If you want to help, please come forward. We're willing to provide you evidence, but we can't go along thinking that somebody's going to do something about it and we're going to stay silent. That's no longer an option. If they did the job right, we wouldn't have had to do this. Okay, and I knew this in 2014. You knew that there were liars, criminals, storytellers in 2014, yet you prolonged it for a decade. Now get a grip of yourselves. We're not going to be tolerating this nonsense. And I know people are going to say, you know, there's risks, you know what I mean? People are going to attack. Well, I've been going through this for that long. I'm sick to death of it. You know, I'm only going to have one life. I'm not going to have 2 lives. And I'm not going to remember tomorrow, if you're a God-loving, fearing person, I'm going to have to answer him tomorrow. You see, at least I'll be proud enough to say that I did not stay silent. And this is for anybody, regardless of your color, creed, religion. It doesn't make no difference. If we actually believe that these are atrocities and these are crimes, then we have to come together. We must come together. Come together. We must come together. It's so important that I can't even keep repeating the same thing again and again. Gary, you were going to say something there, young man?
I just want to say, right, this is completely resolvable. And,
yes.
I'm one man, okay, and just by the exposure I've done, the Klaus Schwab resigned within 3 days, right? And one man, if we all get behind this, the king resigned from a company. You know, there's the Prince William resigned from a company. As I'm exposing all of this, I'm one person, people. If I can do this much, then collectively we'll change the world. I can promise you that 100%. But we need a collective strategy. Can I just read a bit more of the email, Rangi, from earlier?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Only because it ties in with what some people have said, and I think people might find it interesting. So earlier on, I was reading an email I received today. It's one of many I get. I mean, this one's quite an interesting, sort of slightly more high-profile one, I suppose. And we were talking about a boarding school where sexual abuse had been happening. My evidence is showing that the school system is massively linked to the child trafficking. In fact, also, whilst we're on that point, the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children is also linked to the child trafficking. So is Childline, so is Children in Need. Okay, all these things we're led to believe are there to help children are actually linked to the child trafficking. I've got the evidence of that. But this email goes on to say, we were talking about the Lord, and it says, this Lord apparently used to take his boat from the Lake District, where there are more connections with the school that he was referring to, and sail it to Jersey. Although he didn't go into detail, he did mention Haute de la Garonne, sexual abuse, death of children, and what the island had been known for. Now, if you go into my public document file, there is a document where I've researched Hope de la Grande and the senior investigating officers. For those of you who don't know what it was about, it was I think it was around 2006, I believe. There was 65 different parts of children's bodies from 65 different children or thereabouts buried in the basement of a building. The police investigated it and dropped the whole case, all right, even though they were claiming that on some of the bones there was clear evidence of murder to these children. I then investigated it through the Company's House records. The two leading investigating officers that came in initially and the two politicians that were involved, including Jack Straw for the Isle of Jersey, linked back in through the into the international child trafficking ring I was also already establishing, back into links to Madeleine McCann, to Keir Starmer, and to everything I've been looking at. So this is the sort of thing we're dealing with here. It's absolutely vast. They then go on to mention in the email tentative links to the King as well. Okay, so I just thought I'd mention that because we know the police are involved. Of course, not all of them, but the trouble is the system, okay, it's a system problem. It's centralised to this fraud. Okay, so it works its way up the chain. You may have an innocent social worker or an innocent judge or an innocent police officer, but things get escalated up the ranks. If there's any risk of exposing this, then it will be shut down or people will be silenced because it is that big.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Now, look, I'll remind everybody, information is power. Okay, so when you want this information, contact whoever you want on here for that information. We will provide that for you. Gary will make that available. I'll make the platform available for him, as well as anybody else who is actually speaking up about. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of, this is actually a message for all the campaigners. It doesn't matter what part of the field you're in, because I know there's so many angles. Remember, we said there's 100 ways. They're saying in England 100 ways to skin the cat. So it's about time that we actually start coming together. Okay, everybody's at a different level to deal with different things, but if we come together and actually talking about these topics, break it down for the layman language, it's very, very simple. And this is what I've been doing for a while, and I want to stick with that because it's easy to bring or break down the layman language. When we're talking about certain things, it goes over some people's heads. So it's something that we will, and I am going to encourage even Gary and other ones to actually come into that way of thought so we can start bringing that information. Then if you want clarity on anything, you can communicate with us and ask us questions relating to the topic that we're talking about. Darren, you was saying something there when I was talking.
Have we got Mark Sexton involved yet?
Mark Sexton is involved. I've been speaking to him over the last 3 weeks. I'm going to bring, so I'll give you another example what I'm making available. Okay, now through my journey, I told you with what was going on. I also realized I went to BBC News, ITV News, Channel 4, the lot of it. Nobody wanted to do anything. I only did all this because there was no option, there was no platform for anybody. And besides, everything I'm doing here, by the way, will eventually be controlled and run by the members of the public who are transparent, who are honest, who care about what we're talking about. So Mark Sexton is coming on board. I've also spoke to Gary. Before Christmas is what I'm trying to deal with, but at the moment I've got a bit of an issue myself. I need to put myself somewhere safe, so I need another accommodation to find somewhere, wherever I can. Once I've done that... Stay
with me, mate. You can. I've got a spare room if you want. I live in
well, I'm trying to see if I can get somewhere to live because I've literally had to displace my children in different parts of the country now because my children are being targeted right now.
Frankie, I've had a private message from someone whilst we're on this live offering to put you and your family up as well, just to let you know.
Oh, well, that's brilliant because I'm in that situation. I can't do nothing about it. The authorities aren't helping me. They isolate me. I've had people at my doorstep over the last 3 weeks with weapons balaclavaed up, and the police said, well, we can't do anything until they do something, and when they come to do something, can you ring 999? Now can you imagine that? So they come up with weapons.
Somewhere. If you want to stay, mate, you're welcome. I've got 2 spare bedrooms. If you need
just
give me a shout.
No, I will do. Let's say, because I'll give you the follow as well. We need to move forward because I only want to move forward at every stage. I know the risks involved. And what is it? I mean, why, I'm not even bothered about the risk. Why? Because of this. But I'm only have to protect myself with what's going on. So actually, I'll go straight to that first because what I was talking about. So before Christmas, I'm going to arrange it, what I've already gone through with Gary. I will have the news desk up and running. So you'll be able to see live reports from every town and city with details and documentations of cases, but we will still have to do the safeguarding. We will also have our own podcast studio, which will be made available to all campaigners.
Fantastic,
Okay,
mate.
it will be completely for free because I don't charge all this expense. I've took it on my back for years. I don't go for, asking for money. If people can, great. If they can't, it's, you know, money comes and goes, they say. Our babies, when they're taken, they don't come back. Okay, that's how my mentality works. So I want to focus on my mentality and stick with that. Okay, I'm not going to change with that. So there's a lot of things that are coming up which I'm trying to get everything sorted. Also, I want to remind, especially the campaigners, I've got radio stations that have reached out from different parts of the country today. We have already now boxed off a number of radio stations. So once I've got more and more campaigners on board, whether it's through LCS, look, we are willing to work with anybody. I'm not bothered even if you've got your own organization. I'm prepared to support you. We're prepared to support you. You want me to advertise you? Great, I'll do that for you. But it's got to be a transparent, it's got to be for the cause that's real. I'm not there to get names, titles. We're not interested in that. I've seen a lot of campaigners through my time that just want to say, hey, look at me, take a snapshot, chick. No, you do that in your own time. I haven't got time for that. You know what I mean? We've got to be straightforward. Children are being raped right now. And what are we doing? And this is all public awareness. This is about waking the public up. So you look, we've had so many people on. If you want evidence, don't hold back. Get in touch and have a look yourself. And if you're a police officer, even better. So actually, I want to point out something that with allegedly people are watching in. If there's a professions that are watching in, what I'm talking about, go and see DC Caroline Mead, detective in Cleveland Police. But nobody's going to do anything because they don't know what to do. So which has led me to speak up because your system is failing. Your detectives don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, does that mean I've got to wait? What? For over a decade? Are you kidding me? And you call yourself safeguarding, child protection? We're there to protect you. What? Get a grip. You know, it's very, very simple. I want to keep it straightforward and try to wake people up. People like it, people don't like it, that's up to them. You know what I mean? People making allegations all the time about everybody. Anybody that speaks up, they don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like it. It's just the way it is. But I need people to focus on what's being said tonight. Because at the end of the day, tomorrow it'll be another day. And every day that goes by, we're losing hundreds of children, if not maybe 1,000 children a day. How much are we going to take? How many sticks of dynamite do I need to stick between your heads? And does it mean it's everybody? No, it isn't. But let me tell you something. According to these, every public member is guilty unless they prove their innocence on crimes that they manufacture, concerns that they manufacture. This is the nonsense of this system today. Darren, you saying something there?
That's where people need to use and understand their Bill of Rights. Read the Bill of Rights, people. Use it. It is a very powerful tool in your arsenal.
Well, Darren, what would be good is, because I know a lot of people that are speaking about this side as well, I want to give the public the opportunity, not only we talk about it, I'm going to do the same thing with what you're saying. We're going to put all this together. We're going to put it on the website. So while we're talking about it, they go on the website and download it. So they drip feed, because remember, we're looking at the general public, the layman language. You understand? And if we slowly drip feed everybody, it's easy to absorb from the bottom coming up.
I do it every day, mate. Trust me. I sit there. I mean, I share your guys' information. I share other information from the guys like Chris Edwards and stuff like that. Tim Gill. I mean, Dave Moore. I met Dave a little while ago. Fantastic guy. You know what I mean? And I shared as much information every day as I can and try and inform people and say to them, look, it's time to wake up. It's time to start sharing this information. Go and have a look. Go down that rabbit hole, because once you start down that rabbit hole, there is no coming back.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. When you go down that rabbit hole, you know, it's seeing is believing. Once you go down there, you think, hang on, it just doesn't stop. You want to see the end. Where does it stop? And it doesn't. This is why Gary's talking about certain, and there's a whole load above that. Let me tell you what Gary's talking about. There's a whole load above that.
Well, I just hope this guy, the Special Forces soldier, comes to fruition with old big ears, and I hope he gets him out. And to be honest, I advertise the fact that he's a nonce every day.
No, you're right. Now, somebody just mentioned about funds. Now, look, let me, I made it clear earlier on, I've never ever got involved with this for funding. But because there's good people out there, they know this kind of issues and problems are happening, and funds are needed, because that funds is what gets me traveling at the moment as well, because it's just the way it is. What you could do is, if you go on the website, you could do a number of things. You could buy me a coffee, little as £3 a coffee, or you could do a subscription for £5 a month or £10 a month. Even though I've had people saying, hey, I want to give you £1,000, I still tell them the minimum, because I'm not there for your money. And really, if anybody wants to fund, I want you to get involved. And I don't just need help with finance, I need you, because the more manpower we have, the more we can do. You see, one person can't do everything. You see what I'm saying, Darren?
100%, mate. I mean, literally, I put off coming on TikTok because of the overwhelming powers, information I had coming in, and it got to the point of I was on Facebook and I was sharing the information, and I was being blocked and banned, getting 5-day bans, 20-day bans, 30-day bans. And I just thought to myself, do you know what? I think I'm going to go and see what information I can find on here. And in the last 3 weeks, the information and the things I've learned in relation to the Bill of Rights and using the Magna Carta and things like that have helped me ridiculously. On the 2nd of October, I was supposed to have gone to court, being governed under Article 61, and told the Magistrates' Court quite clearly that I have undeniable evidence of their corruption towards me as an individual. That was 10 days ago. I haven't had nothing since. Last year, I was put in prison for 2.5 months for supposedly breaching a non-molestation contact order that I actually had no knowledge of at all. And now I have the undeniable proof of that as well. Yet when I try to go to the local chief commissioner to expose this, I get refused to be allowed to see him, to be allowed to expose this.
I've got to say, Darren, you're an inspiration to a lot of people. The fact you're still openly, fighting this and speaking out and banging on all the doors you can, and what an inspiration. And I'd like to tie that into a comment that somebody else put a moment ago, and they're saying, what can they be doing? Well, Darren's a great example. Go and knock on doors. Literally, don't be ashamed. Our children are being murdered. Okay, it's quite literally, that is what is happening. There's overwhelming evidence for adrenochrome, which is children being tortured for their blood and then murdered. Okay, go and knock on all your doors, all the doors you can. Arrange a coffee morning. Go and look at the documents. Just discuss it. Go and look at some of the videos. Look at some of Rangi's stuff. Get the discussion going. Book a hall in your village. Go and get all your neighbours together and just talk about it. I'll do a video presentation with you. I'll be there live on a big screen. if need be, and talk through the evidence. We need to spread out as much as we can to as many people as we can. And well done, Darren, for everything you're doing.
Thank you very much, mate.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, absolutely, Darren. Honest to God, I'm so blessed that there are a lot of people like yourself out there. But it's about time we actually come together now. It doesn't matter about the titles and where we are, the groups. We all need to come together to deal with this. But I just want to point out one thing, and I'm going to have to speak to English Rose and Gary. You know, Gary, I was open with you over a week ago, more than a week ago, because of my circumstances. Now, I need to find a way that I could fully speak up with why I'm doing what I'm doing. The only obstacle I see again and again is I can't stand up against everybody, because if I stand up and everything comes out in one go, I'm going to have the Peterings after me, I'll have the grooming gangs after me, and I'll have these fucking turnips after me at the same time. So it's something that if we could put together something...
Could I ask? Okay, to me that's quite straightforward, because they're just agents, and I can help draft a document and pass it to you. I need to go for Gary, and so you can proofread it, Gary, what you think to it as well. Telegram. So what it will be is just tied to the wording is key, because a couple of little things I'll chat to you privately about, and how you can address nationally all of the agents. So you're looking at the key, I won't say here what and who, and how you are presenting assistance on a certain words I will say privately about and what they mean, and therefore there won't be any repercussions on their using legalese against you or your personal family members, okay? Any presumptions, which are quite key on this, without first-hand evidence, it's just that. And without them producing where the harm or anything that's been alleged in your personal situation, it is all just purely speculation and assumption. So the basic document could be, I'm just suggesting, on the lines of what you're trying to do and your collaboration of general individuals. You keep it in low profile, but obviously, you know, powers that we're dealing with corrupt individuals. But if you're keeping it on a low parallel to words that some of these agents who may not know the language, or which a few of us already know, they will be standardised legalese and the digital system. But for you personally, we'll work on it. I've got a couple of important things I'm dealing with again the next 2 days, but by the middle of the week, Gary and I'll get into that Telegram group again and just briefly outline the wording. And there's another Telegram group, free PDFs of Black's Law Dictionary, and the one which is very important to look at can be downloaded and look at the words that I may be using in the document. You can check it with that PDF, which is it's straight to the actual wording. So as long as you have a comprehension of the language, basic stuff, you should be right.
What I will say is, people actually look up the word legalese and what the definition of it is. The definition of legalese is hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. That's what they're talking. Look it up in the Black's Law Dictionary. It is hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. When I was in court last year, the first thing I said to the judge was, I'm not here to speak your legalese, hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. He looked at me as if I was some sort of like psychopath who didn't know what I was talking about. I literally lifted my Black's Law Dictionary up off of my lap. I put it up against the screen. The judge got up and he walked out of the courtroom.
Yeah, it sounds about right when you speak the right language.
Oh, you have to. You
Yeah.
have to.
Right, if you don't mind, because we have got somebody new in there, and also I want to remind everybody we do normally clock off at 12. So if there's any questions and answers, anybody wants to get in. If it goes over a little bit, providing Gary's okay and the mods, I'll probably go over a little bit. But if I could get this gentleman, a Sheikh Faisal, if you could unmute yourself, please.
Hello.
Sheikh.
Hi. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing, everyone? All right.
Yeah, good, thank you. Did you have a question or a comment?
Not really. No. I was just listening, but I don't know how. I didn't realize I was on the live, to be honest.
Well, maybe God Almighty guided you this way, so
Yeah.
you do
You
know
know
what it's
what
about.
I mean in the
don't you?
box. I do listen to you often. You know,
Well,
I've had a bit of a run-in with child services myself. So,
What are you going through, mate? What are you going through? Let's see if we can help you.
well, it's just you know, it was for a brief period. They're still sort of monitoring, you know, the children. They say that it's a bit complicated, to be honest with you. You know,
You're in a domain where people, like myself, I've been subjected to the family court systems for 23 years. Okay, I've been there, done it, got the T-shirt. I haven't seen my youngest son for 4 years. I haven't seen my eldest son for 9 years. Yet I have a 17-year-old son. At 2 years old, I was given custody of him. Yet I have a 15-year-old son who lives less than 1 mile from my house, who I haven't seen for 4 years. Because of the corrupt family court system.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen my daughter for 13 years now. And it was, you know, I don't even know where she is, to be honest with you. It's been a long time.
What you can do, right, if the mother is claiming benefits, you can do what they call a welfare check, basically, or you can get the local authorities to tell you where she is by using their welfare. If she's in receipt of universal credit or anything else like that, I can't think of the actual terminology. I'll have to find it for you. But if you inbox me, I'll find out the correct terminology, because what they do is they do it through their welfare. So if she's on the universal credit or claiming any benefits, you can actually track and find out, or track and trace where she is.
Right, I didn't know that. So it's like a freedom of information, or freedom of information. Or
Track and find out, or track and trace where she is.
Right, I didn't know that. So it's like a freedom of information, or
Set at the fact that I wasn't seeing my child, and I had the same judge for 12 years, and the same judge gave me the custody of my now 17-year-old son, but won't allow me to see my child.
Right, okay. Yeah, the case with me went a bit. They didn't even really listen to my side of it, really. You know, it was like it was all sort of planned. You know,
It is. What you've got to understand, mate, is that man or woman sitting in the chair in front of you, is corrupt. End of story. End of story. You've got to sit there, and excuse my expression, with the biggest pair of brass bollocks you can ever raise in yourself. You've got to be brave, you've got to be strong, you've got to be powerful. You've got to sit there and say, Your Honour, with the greatest respect, tell me lawfully and legally why I can't see my child. I want it in writing, what statutes, what legislations, what act, whatever law written down telling me why I can't see or be involved in my child's life. You've got to have that strength in yourself to do that and say that. Unfortunately, in my situation, my son lives less than 1 mile from my house. I see him on rare occasions when his mum drops him off at school, which is less than half a mile from my house, or if I see him in the town centre or something like that. His mother just grabs hold of him, pulls him away. I have made 5 different applications to my local county court to get to see my child.
Yeah.
5 of those applications, I haven't had one returned.
Well, with me, what the judge said, because what I don't get is Kafkas. They came and visited, and she said everything's spot on, everything's fine. But when that court case happened, what she was reading out on that report was totally the opposite.
So let me answer that one for you with Kafka. I do talk about this one. Sorry, Darren. See, social work is a lies, criminal storyteller. So Kafkas is the same crap with just a different name.
Right.
Okay? So
They're
just
a bunch of
remember
criminals,
that.
mate.
It's very, very simple. They do the very same thing. Even though right now they froze me again. Now, before I get you to continue, I've seen a few messages on there about the Black Law Dictionary. Now, I know it's a few £100 for a Black Law Dictionary, but I've obtained it on a PDF file. If anybody wants the Black Law Dictionary, I could send you it for free because we don't make money on this. This is about knowledge going out to the members of the public. So if you need a Black Law Dictionary, I will send it to you for free. Okay?
You can get them on Amazon for like 80 quid, mate. I've got the 11th edition.
I've got a hard copy. It's the 5th edition. Yeah,
No,
I got it from America.
11th.
11th. I've got the 5th. That before they started making all the changes to it.
Right, just let me just get because I'm frozen. Gary, you still there?
Yes, mate, I'm here.
Yeah, I just want you to just continue do what you're doing because I'm going to have to redo this. You can see how many times they try, but obviously I found a way that they can't stop me, so I'm just going to redo it. So if you just take over there because I'm not going to be able to hear anything shortly.
No worries.
Okay.
Yeah, Darren, you're right in what you're saying. You know, you need to stand in your confidence, and knowledge is power, isn't it? Once you have knowledge and confidence to stand in that knowledge, that's when we can move mountains, isn't it?
When I was his ex-partner phoned him up asking him to come round because there was other children outside his children's home making a mockery of themselves, abusing him physically, mentally, verbally, his children. He went round there, told them to get lost. His ex-partner phoned the police and they put him in prison for 7 months for protecting his own children.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's the criminality of the system.
So, you know, when the judge, what the judge said to me was, to see your child, you're going to have to pay £350 an hour. And it has to be supervised in a location of our choice. I couldn't afford it then. I'd just come out of studying university. £350 an hour for me was like, you know,
it's ridiculous money, mate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What you need to do, mate, right, is come to me, inbox me, okay? Yeah. I will give you a word for word thing you need to say to the judge. All you've got to do is say to the judge, I now want it in writing, a lawful, legal reason as to why I cannot be involved in my child's life. I want what act, what legislation, what statute you are telling me under what law I cannot be involved in my child's life. The judge will shit themselves, literally.
Darren, you're such a good man, and you're very knowledgeable as well with what you've been through. So you're really sort of imparting that on other people, and I want you to realise how much you're appreciated for doing that, Darren.
Listen, mate, I've been in the system 23 years. I've got 3 children by 3 different mothers. I've got a 24-year-old son. I don't have 1 psychological report on his mother. I have 2. The first one says narcissistic tendencies. That's the first psychological report. The second psychological report states concerning narcissism. When I went back to that court and said to the judge, the difference between my psychological report and her psychological report was I was angry and pissed off. Concerning narcissism, yet the judge still didn't give me any contact until my barrister turned around and said, actually, hold on, Your Honour. Why not? Because I demanded my barrister ask that question. Why not? 2 weeks later, I had both of my children at my home.
Fantastic.
Because it's a case of everything the court system does is fear-based. The same as the police, the same as bailiffs. 3 weeks ago, I had a council tax bailiff banging on my door. She tried to poke a card through my door. I took it out. I walked over to her car. I put it on her windscreen. She walked back onto my driveway. I told her quite straight that she was now causing aggravated trespass, and I physically threw her off my drive. It's all about having the bravery to do what you need to do.
You're absolutely right, mate.
Brave enough to do what you need to do, you can do it. It's all about being brave and standing up for what you believe.
Absolutely. Yeah. They rely on people just being submissive, don't they? Can I just comment in the comments? You know, there's a couple of comments, Rangi. Can I comment on them?
Yeah, please.
So someone said, right, this black and white is doing my head in. We're all human, all the same. I just want to re-emphasize that we're absolutely all equal, okay, on this planet, no matter what our culture, background, ethnicity, etc. Rangi and I are standing shoulder to shoulder. I admire this man so much. I want to support him. I want to help him. He wants to do the same. He wants to expose this to save the children. We are uniting. This is exactly what they don't want. I think many things in the past, few decades have been done deliberately to separate us, to divide us, to create conflict. We're now coming together, and this is so, so important. I mean, you can go and look at my World Trade Center disaster document in my file. That only supports what other people have produced in evidence to suggest the World Trade Center disaster was a deliberate attack by the US and UK governments and others to make it create a false war on terror to lead to all of this conflict that we're seeing. This is the evil, this system and those that control it. Look at what they're doing to humanity, trying to separate the likes of myself and Rangi. We're showing now that we're fighting back, and they're going to lose.
100%, mate.
100%. Now, look, I know we're coming towards the end. Now, one thing I want to let people know about tomorrow. Tomorrow, I am actually going to be arranging with Gary and a few of the others. When we're talking about documentation that have been covered up by the local authorities, what they look like, what's actually said on it, we're going to actually show you this.
Any help, inbox
me. Jake, mute. Hang on, I'll mute yourself. I'll mute you. So this will be spoken about tomorrow because information is power. And remember, this is at the bottom level going all the way to the top. Yet there's a whole load more to be discussed and talked about, but we want to do topic by topic. And remember, it doesn't matter which topic we talk about, leads back down to our children and the future of our children. Okay, and a lot of good comments that were in there, which is 100% right. They have been dividing and conquering us. It's about time we woke up and we started to unite, regardless of our color, creed, religion, and so we could stand up and rise above and to conquer the damn thing. Okay,
I
and
applaud
don't
you,
take,
mate.
and one thing I want to make it clear for those who may think that this is not possible, yes, it is possible, and it's actually happening. So don't think that it's not happening because you're not aware of it. It is happening. There's a massive awakening globally that's actually happening. So one of the things that I am also going to say is, because I know a lot of people want to help and support. If you want to help and support with the setup, what we're doing, get in touch through that. Now, one of the things that we have done, and this is a number of months ago, we're just waiting for things to turn up. We've actually required help internationally now on safeguarding and child protection, where people, if you need help in cases and things like that, you'll be handed over to a group of people who will be internationally linked, where they'll be dealing with that side alone, where it gives me more time and where I can put the efforts in where it comes to breaking silence and opening a can of worms in every town and city, because at the end of the day, it's happening everywhere. And this is for those cases who are eligible in that sense. So if you're in a case right now, firstly, my advice is do not speak about your case on public media, because if you do, they'll use it against you as a weapon. Okay? And once you're out of that setup, for example, and you want to go public, we will, or I personally will be making arrangements to speak to every single person and report on your cases live in public media. And that means every town, any city, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, UK, and not only that, in another 13 different countries that have already reached out. So I just want to, because we're going to be systematic with everything what they're doing to us, we're going to do the same thing back. But it's something that we are doing, and it's only due to the feelings of the public members that allegedly want to help and support them, but they've been doing differently. I've actually called into international help and support now. Even though we've got a lot of good people that in general have the knowledge, they're still going to be part of what we're doing in general, just to support and get things done right. But we need to move forward. You need to learn about everything that everybody's talking about. We need to teach that now. We need to drip feed every bit of information so you know how they get to steal your children to begin with, which is what I'm talking about. And what is covered up, which is what I'm talking about. And as you go along, you will learn why it's happening. It'll always lead up to money, 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 and more. Okay, so even though it's been mentioned a little bit about the evil, because this is all about good against evil. Don't kid yourself. This is good against evil. It's not about color, creed, or religion. It's simple, good against evil. And this is why we must, and I can't emphasize enough, we must stand together, regardless of anything else, because ahead of us is our children and their future. And if we cannot do something today, we are, well, can you imagine what's going to become of them? And we're not going to have that. So even though I've gone over a little bit, I'm just going to check who is wanted to come on, just in case if there's another question. Okay, it isn't, but I will fill that box up. So while everybody's in, I will get everybody to have the final says. But tomorrow we will be discussing a lot more in depth of what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about, just on that. Gary's already been talking. You could also ask questions relating to what Gary's been talking about, and we'll provide that information, or he will provide it to you. And once it's on that on the web, will guide you there. So just go there. You'll get all the details downloaded. And this also means to the professionals, social workers, managers, mayors, MPs, detectives. We're not bothered who it is. We're making it available. This is a matter of safeguarding, and it's a matter of public interest. So I want to make that clear, and that includes what obviously Darren's talking about as well. I will be putting that on. Gary, do you want to add on to anything what I said before I get everybody to have the last sayings?
No, I just want to say thank you to you, Ranky, as always. And just to give my email address again, if you email me, I can send you the public document file link. Yeah. And I've also got a playlist of all of my videos which explains the documents as well. So my email address is Gary with one R, the truth sets us free @gmail.com. That's Gary, the truth sets us free @gmail.com. I'll send you a video playlist and the public document file evidence, which you can verify. You can go and check it all and see everything I'm saying is true.
Okay, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back to you at the end. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one by one because it has been a few hours, which usual time for what we're doing. But I want to get myself ready for tomorrow. I don't want to have too late, otherwise I'm not going to be prepared for tomorrow. So if I could have last statements or comments or anything from Starseed first for this evening or what we've been discussing, it's your turn. Starseed.
Hi, Ranji. Just doing our own part on getting all this sorted out within our own lives, I suppose, in the council, and maybe that'll be a way forward for myself as well, and hopefully wanting to move at some point because of all the stuff that's going on. I'll be interested in looking at all that information as well, and being part of it, and helping where I can.
Starseed, thank you very much.
That's it, really.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful that you joined us tonight as well, because I know it takes a lot for people to join and speak up. And you've been doing really good for the last few times I've had you on. I'm really grateful for that.
You're welcome.
If I go to English, Rose, please, next.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Andy and Gary, for inviting and so forth. Well, I just want to raise awareness of the technology of the mind control during all this, and raising awareness and how it can affect your psychological way of thinking and protect yourself from outside influences. What I put in the website in the chat is on mind control, and earlier Gary touched on that slightly. It does get, this is, like you said earlier, about international. It is worldwide. It is not just one country. And positivity is a work in process, especially when you're coming out of the occult and witnessing what one has and still going through a lot of things, should put it that way. Darren, brilliant. All of you with your knowledge and learning what I've already known for years is brilliant. So, just thank you for your invite, everybody, and keep doing what you're doing.
English, Rose, thank you very much for joining us again. I really appreciate that. If I could go to Sheikh Faisal, last comment before we go off, sir, tonight, of what is happening on the lives, for example, but anything you want, last comment.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for everyone. I'm just a bit shocked, like how much trust you'd expect from these kind of systems and what they actually are playing out, because it seems to be quite a wide, thing, and it's happening everywhere. It's just, I'm coming to getting to grips with it myself. You know what I mean? So it's really shocking for me to absorb so much information. So I'll be in touch with Darren, and I'll check. I'll see what Gary. I'll email him, and then I'll LCS as well. It's because it seems like a massive thing. This, that's happening. Like you said, if it's global, that's unreal, isn't it? Real evil.
It's definitely global. I can tell you that it's
100%.
international.
100%.
100%. Right, Sheikh, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And the thing is, it's about sharing the information and getting this out. Now, before I get to the last three, I was trying to describe what kind of a situation is and like who let these people out. And I was trying to have some sort of a sense of humor. And there was only one track I could actually find to have a bit of a sense of humor to get the message across. So before I get to the last three, I'm actually going to play that, and I'm hoping you'll pick it up and understand. Yet you might find it comical, but I'm just going to play it. One sec.
Who let the dogs out? 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 Who let the dogs out?
So this is the state of affairs. We have people behaving in such filthy manners that I could only describe them that they're the worst dogs of the earth today,
You're not wrong,
behaving
mate.
in this filthy manner. So I'm hoping people have a bit of a sense of humour. I mean, we don't normally have anything that we try to make fun of or something, but I don't want to swear, if you know what I mean. So if I could go to Darren, can I go to next, you young man?
You certainly can, sir. I don't know about so young, I'm 52. But if there's any devoted dads or mums out there that need a Mackenzie or don't understand the system or want help, inbox me. I will help you, tell you what you need to write down, tell you what you need to demand from the judge. Just inbox me and I'll give you a hand.
That's you.
Brilliant. Now, just on that note, maybe I should have said it earlier. Do you or anybody on the live, does anybody know how to appeal an adoption?
Well, adoption. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Who is it? Yeah.
If you can,
Yeah.
if anybody, I mean, if you think you can, message me. This is one of the biggest failings that I've been witnessing, and I have so many parents who are struggling and suffering because the system is so obviously lies, criminal storytellers. So I'll put that out so you know. So I'll message you with that. I'll get you linked up with the right people. So Darren, firstly, I want to say thank you very much.
You're very welcome,
Who's
mate.
left? Who's left in this? Oh, life is beautiful. Can you unmute yourself, please?
That was some sexy moves there, Rangi.
Can we see the
Smashing
eyebrows
eyebrow
again?
moves, smashing it.
Do
You
the
smashed
eyebrows
it.
again, please.
Oh my, come on, Rangi, do it again. You got my shoulders moving with it.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
I love it.
That was a classic.
Okay. That's, I'm
Yeah,
glad I have a little bit of sense of humor. Well, life is beautiful. Please, I'll let you next.
Do you know what? There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there all together if we stand up and fight together.
Absolutely.
Tonight's live was hectic, was busy, was a good live. Okay, you shush. It's my little one. What it is we've blocked quite a few haters, and we'll continue blocking them until we get the word across to everyone who's actually is in the live listening and not just wasting our time. Because we're not here to waste time, we're here to save lives, not to waste lives.
Fantastic. Well said, lady.
But thank you to everyone. Thank you, Gary, Starcy, English Rose. You know, you're an inspiration, you are, English Rose.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Darren, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, darling.
And I'll see you again soon.
Definitely.
Take care, everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rangi.
Gary, I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Thanks,
Good
Darren.
night,
Thank you
Rangi.
for
Good
everything.
night, mate.
Thank you,
Hang
mate.
on one sec. Gary, you're next. I haven't even finished. You got your next now.
Yeah, I mean, just to say thank you to you, Ranky, as always, for putting this on for everybody and for everyone that's joining in on this. Let's keep getting this evidence out, sharing it. Knock on doors, people. Children are dying. Go and knock on doors. Don't delay this. All right? It's an opportunity to have a coffee as well with some people you may not know, and you can talk about this. Let's do this for the children, everyone, all right?
No, well, thank you very much, Gary. Thank you very much for every single person and all the others that came before. It takes a lot to speak up. It takes a lot to actually even help. But it's something I want to just mention. I was speaking to Gary earlier on today. You know, you get knocked down all the time. It's just normal. And like I said to Gary earlier on, every time they knock me down, all it does is it pisses me off, and I just want to get back up and do more damage. Okay, I want to get louder and louder. Stop oppressing me. Stop trying to silence me. Stop trying to play games with me. This stuff is not acceptable. Okay, simple as that. Gary, I think, is that more or less what I said to you today?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and you're an inspiration. You know, because you've got these awful people that aren't even willing to look at my evidence. You're the only one that is willing to actually, well, one of few willing to expose the truth in this. So, you know, we know what their motive is. We know what their motive is.
No, well, Gary, thank you very much. I want to say thank you very much for everybody else. I want to say thank every single person who's participated, who's actually been in the comments. And in general, I always try not to. You know, the mods don't want to mute you. They don't want to block you. We want to be transparent. We want you to have your say. You know, I mean, we want to help and support, and we're hoping that you're going to help and support. So if you have any mercy tomorrow or any other time, and you really genuinely feel that people that are speaking up about raping that's going on, and you want to help and support, great. If not, I don't really know what's happening. But I'm glad they just get rid of them all, because at the end of the day, we're not there for any form of fame. I'm not bothered about followers. This is not about that. So for ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, from me and everybody in the team, be ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow there will be a lot more. I will be making information and evidence available, and I will also show you where it is, even though we will be discussing and talking about it. So from me, my dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, good night. God bless.